How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses with two of your favorite show hosts, Ara still.
And Rossell, and we're here to bring you the latest news and games commentary for the week. Although we don't have a Fern again because Fern has been abandoned by his driver again, so he's now scrambling trying to keep the business running with no help, is my understanding. But yeah, I'm not honestly expecting him to manage to show up today. It sounds like there's just too much chaos going down at the moment. But we will mush on regardless, as always. If you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in the Discord server, which you can get to by clicking on the link provided in the show description underneath the archive version of the show on YouTube.
Yes, indeed. We have a fun new toy.
We do, and I am not watching the stream, so I don't know what Aristotle is doing with it.
Don't worry, just don't move. Perfect.
Okay. I dare not ask.
Yes, indeed. So, WuWa had a pretty big week. Lots of stuff in there to talk about. What you call it? I finished Cyberpunk. I can talk about that. I'm also sick. I am on every single drug imaginable to tap it down for now. We'll see how long that lasts, and I'll probably have to go dig up more cough drops in a minute. But being sick is not an excuse to not do the show.
Nope. I think the only time I've missed the show for being sick was because I actually couldn't speak.
Yep.
There was no sound coming out.
Oh, there's chloroseptic down there. That will help. So expect Vol to get every symptom I have, which is a little bit of everything, but especially bad head cold.
Yeah, it's been going around. It's been going around the past few weeks. Though most of the people in my direct employ have not gotten more than a very mild version. So, which is good compared to usual.
Yes, indeed. So, I believe, given what WuWa did this week, best thing to do would be to quickly have me go over Cyberpunk stuff for single player because I finished it. Act 3 was not very long, and neither was the finale. Um, and what went on for completion requirements because it turned out basically just reload the save before you go do the final dungeon and pick the ending you want. So getting all the achievements was not very difficult. So let's see. We'll do that, and then we'll have a lot of WuWa stuff to talk about. Probably let Vol interject any of the other Gacha stuff in the interim. Got any? Then we'll talk about the Cyberpunk collab and the WuWa. What bits of the current WuWa stuff that isn't Cyberpunk we can talk about. I've finished the main story today. It was very short. It just came
I
out
went
today.
to church this morning, so I haven't touched it.
It's very short, so when you do it, it won't take you long. The facial animation team, as demonstrated through from the Nightmare Rabbit up through the Cyberpunk collab, continues to strut their stuff. Lots of very funny faces that I'm sure are going to make it into memes. But we'll start with Cyberpunk and get that out of the way. So for
I can only assume that when I got up and I looked at my phone, like the first thing I saw was a whole bunch of memes about like the Ameth Collective.
Yeah, Ameth does get some fun ones. Lucilla and Lene get some fun ones too. So yeah, you'll see. But yeah, so Cyberpunk. Finished the main story, and I was not a big fan of the main story and the way it ended, as usually goes in these, games that style themselves after the Fallout style or the Skyrim style, your Elder Scrolls style games. It just
Mainquest is blah at best.
yeah, I mean, they tried to make it have a whole lot of different ways to end, but it doesn't ring. The final boss is cool. Smasher's cool. Apparently, he used to be terrible, but they felt so bad after Edge Runners did him justice, according to his lore, that they basically had to go back and rebuild the boss fight from scratch. So I don't know what the old version of Smasher was like, but apparently he was just incredibly easy to stun lock, and even on the hardest difficulty was a snooze fest. He's not that anymore. Um, he is a proper boss fight, and there's no getting around him being a full combat boss fight. So when you get to the end of the story, I hope you're ready to move some points around because into something that deals with attacking because you're gonna need it. But
You can't hack your way through that one.
it's you can, and it's probably the most effective way to do damage to Smasher. But every time you do, a little bar will build up on your screen that's Adam Smasher's custom ice program that'll not only make it so you can't hack him for a little bit, it'll also blind you. Like it'll flashbang your screen.
That sounds like a bad thing to happen while fighting Adam Smasher.
Yes, because he also has the new and improved Sandevistan from Edge Runners equipped. So boy is fast. But yeah, I don't think it's worth going into anywhere near the detail of I did for Phantom Liberty. Phantom Liberty, at least the choices, were very dramatically different, branched at a much earlier point in the story, made a whole made if not sense, at least made for very interesting scenarios. The main game, not so much. You can definitely tell where they had to cut corners because they were just out of time, especially near the end. Because you like just go onto a roof and have a talk with Johnny, and your Doc and Misty give you a pill to let Johnny just have take control, or a gun to just shoot yourself, or a pill that'll shut Johnny
What
up for a little bit, and you can call one of your friends to go raid Arasaka Tower.
why would you want to let Johnny take control or like shoot yourself in the head or
Those are the I give up options. Although one of the endings is you trust Johnny enough that you let him take control, uh, and he'll call one of the old hats from the old source books to come help him raid Arasaka Tower to potentially find a cure for you. And to his credit, he does do it, but it doesn't work out for you or him that way. But the ending I settled on as my character's canon ending was the Nomad one, where you shut Johnny up and you call up the nomads, who are the people that well they live nomadically in throughout the wastes of the U.S. and move from place to place, and get them to come help you raid Arasaka Tower because of all the stuff that you've done for them. And you
what's that? You ask a bunch of gypsies to help you steal some stuff.
no, we're gonna blow stuff up. But yeah, we are gonna go try and steal their tech at the bottom of the tower too. So we get the nomads, and basically you're just hoping that because what you find at the bottom of Arasaka Tower can't help you, you've got like 6 months to live. All the other ones are very nihilistic, but this one at least has some flicker of hope, and that somewhere out there in the waste, maybe you can find something that can make your life better and help you live a bit longer.
This is a cyberpunk setting. Nothing can make your life better.
No, but maybe you can live a bit longer. So there's always the sell out to Arasaka ending. Don't do that. I had to watch it for the completion Chivo. That's the incorrect decision. They
What you mean that the Arasaka aren't straight shooters?
no, they're going to, after they figure out they can't treat you, and they've taken Johnny out of your head and put his soul back in the soul matrix. You are now, there's nothing we can do, so we're just going to rip your soul out and shove you in the soul matrix too, just to have, because having a collection of souls is just a thing they do. So yeah, the main story not super great, doesn't end super well. Bunch of the side stories, the character stories are fine. Phantom Liberty was pretty good. Don't don't recommend Cyberpunk for the main story, as is usually the case with these style games. It's usually that's just the thread tying everything together. It's not the main attraction. But you can tell where they had ambitions and they were just cut as you go through. Like they just didn't have the time. But yeah, if you're gonna go through it, if you want to see the Phantom Liberty story, I do recommend that. If you want to see the character stories, some of those are okay. The side stories in the main game are hit and miss. Most of the ones in Phantom Liberty are pretty good because they had time to focus on those, and they're much smaller in quantity to focus on quality. But yeah, so final recommendation for Cyberpunk and its DLC: if you can get both for around $40 US, that's about appropriate price, I think. Anything more than that, having to deal with the bugs, the occasional crash. Like I ran to 3 crashes over 110 hours of gameplay. So the
Like
occasion,
hard crash to desktop or
yeah,
system hang or
applications encountered a fatal error, hard close, back to desktop. Usually happened
well,
when it was auto
that's
saving.
better than it was, I'm sure.
Yeah, uh, yeah, all the little minor bugs, the memory leak in it, like dealing with all that for $40 for the amount of game and the quality of some of the stuff you get seems about right. Any more than that's really pushing. I,
Like I've had three hard crash to desktops in WuWa in 680 hours.
yeah. So so yeah. But yeah, the cyberpunk universe did something interesting for me and that I actually got invested in learning more about the mechanics of the universe. It's very good for setting up an interesting universe with a whole lot of concepts and mechanics that are interesting, something that doesn't happen a lot anymore. But it just the because 2077 had its rough development, there are just a lot of stuff in the actual storytelling that isn't ironed out very well. The fact that it is still a cyberpunk genre story is going to hold it back. That very few stories can have an unambiguously happy ending, so it does get uh very wearing after a while. Um, the fact that you'll be that feeling where even if you want to make the good choice, you're like, yeah, but that's the boring option because it's clear the things that lean into the universe are going to be just funnier in the side quest or more interesting. So you wind up having to play a character that is just morally reprehensible, even if you're not particularly doing that particular character or moment. So it kind of forces you that way a lot of the time. It's just a lot of little stuff. Really winds
I
me
mean,
up.
I don't know if that's necessarily better or worse than the Bioware approach, where like one of them is Radiant Angel and the other one is Evil Demon, and there's not really anything else.
Yeah,
Although to be fair, occasionally it's done well. I actually I didn't have too much difficulty playing a Sith in KOTOR, but uh, oftentimes in Mass Effect, Renegade was basically just evil stupid.
yeah.
Just be a belligerent cock nugget to the people around you, and they won't like you, and you'll have trouble later as a result.
I did like how being nice to people didn't always result in you getting, the more premium or good rewards for any given quest. Like sometimes, if the guy's ticking you off, just popping a cap in his head will give you his unique weapon.
Yeah, what I found worked well for me in KOTOR was if you have difficulty getting in the being evil groove, just do Korriban first. If you do Korriban first, everybody there deserves it, and all the best rewards come from being a dick to them.
Yeah. So it does spread its rewards out pretty big, and it's not you're not going to be able to psychic your way out to what the best rewards are in Cyberpunk. But it was satisfying where I would just play my character how my character would feel in the moment, very emotional, spur of the moment. It seemed to be the best way to do things. And like, sometimes I'm hauling this random corpo guy to his obvious death and torture with the scavengers, and I don't care because he's a corpo, so I'm just going to shut the trunk on him while he's complaining to me and continue to drive him off to be payment for the scavengers. you know,
Well, the other half of that equation, though, is like materially are you just going to end up better off? Like the thing is, you played a net runner, so essentially you're in a situation where the entire population of Night City's bank accounts are open to you, type of thing.
Yeah. So I did wind up in a position where I could hack every antenna on the planet and have infinite money. There are, if you play a technical person, there's all kinds of secret doors and treasure troves you can find as well. In during quests that you can get access to. Uh, if you play a physical character, there's some doors you can just rip off their hinges that other characters can't. So they do pretty good at making sure all the builds have a way to get in and do something. The only one that gets shafted there is the reflex tree. But your bonus for that is you get to move faster, which, you know, always seems to be like the most prevalent reward in any given game like that. So so yeah. I enjoyed my time with it. I will not be going back to do it. Like it's a solid like 7 out of 10. It was good. I liked my time with the game. Phantom Liberty is probably an 8.5 for the DLC, just because of how ridiculous and over the top it is. It's just a lot of fun to go through it and see the ridiculous situations you get put in, and just how high stakes it gets for a cyberpunk universe. It has the only thing resembling a coherent ending with closure in the ending where you put a cap in Songbird. But but yeah, so yeah, $40, good price for it if you get both it and the DLC for that price. If you've already got it and have just been sitting on it, it's worth popping it open to check it out, see if it's your jam, if you're okay with putting up with the bugs and your rig can handle it without turned into liquid paste. Um, Thing can run on the Steam Deck at glorious 24 FPS on minimal settings. It has a Steam Deck mode.
They're making a sequel, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's in the earliest stages of development. We don't know anything about it.
Right.
Like, as far as I know, they've just started actual work on the thing, and it's barely out of the concept phase. That's what the last post I read seemed to imply, anyway. So yeah, if you got anything on Cyberpunk, this is be the last time I talk about it as its own individual entity, unless it relates to other stuff by proxy. So
No, I don't have a great yearning to be involved in that. Like I can sort of imagine playing it at some point in the future, but I'm not like champing at the bit to do it. It's like I don't. I feel like the that Night City is a little bit leans a little bit too hard into cyberpunk despair for my tastes. Like I think that the whatchamacallit, um Deus Ex Human Revolution is about as far cyberpunk as I feel like going.
but you can set
Like
sail for flavor.
society's still recognizable in that one, at least to some extent. And
Setting
I don't
sail
really
for
want to,
flavor.
I don't really want to I don't really want to set sail for flavor. I don't even know what he's selling.
$1 bags of potato chips. And yes, you can get them in the game. I finally found some.
I see.
I had to go smack a vending machine. Right. So, um, if you got any, because we're probably going to go off on WuWa for a bit. If you got any of the other gotchas that you talk about, probably should insert them here.
Okay. Right. Well, starting with Blue Archive, I haven't done anything in Blue Archive. The main event is still like bogged down in the Melkith raid. I think my woo is locking up. No, it's not. It's
Oh
come
no,
back.
I
Yeah,
activated
that's still.
Sandevistan and it looked like it did funny things to you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about everything that was added in the cyberpunk causes my graphics card to hitch.
Well,
But
let's experiment here. Hang on.
I don't really want to. It's uncomfortable. Well, it didn't cause it to hang this time, but you were in the center of my field of view.
Oh, hang on. Speaking of hanging, I gotta, because this channel does this every show.
We
Eh,
good?
yeah, we could. So Saint Devastating didn't break your WuWa, but it did crash the internet apparently.
Right. Well, anyways, yeah, so the Melkith raid is still going. I'm not participating in it. I don't even know what its mechanics are. Um, from what I've heard, um, it does have a bunch of mechanics and stuff, but it turned out that after everybody did the math, um, the optimal way to do the Melkith raid is to just pick your 4 best Unga Bunga DPS, put them all in one team, and go to town.
So
Uh,
Mika, Swimsuit Hanako. Oh, who's the other Ungabungas?
Dress Hina is probably the most powerful Unga Bunga. I probably Battlesuit Eris at this particular point. Um,
That
but yeah,
doesn't
the
that
people are.
doesn't have a garden hose. How can that do damage?
So yeah, that's what's currently going on, and it's been going on for days. And they've got on Asia Pacific server that I'm on, we only got Melkith down to like 70% or something. Um, but this is sort of like the grand finale, as far as I'm aware, of the Decagrammaton storyline, since Melkith is the final prophet. Um, but yeah, I'm just gonna let that play out. I'm not really in a great hurry to participate. It is one of those times though where you get a bonus to damage output depending on your bond at a rate of, if you basically get 2% bonus damage per bond rank. So
So if you
basically my
really
Wakamo will do a lot of damage.
so if you've given Hanako the love she deserves, that garden hose is going to hit really hard.
I think my bond rank with Hanako is quite high by accident, more or less. She just seemed to crop up a lot. Um, I think my rank with her is probably in the 30s. Um, I think my Wakamo's at like 51 or 52, and Nagisa's at 50 or 51. Most of the others, well, I think Yuka is pretty close to 50, but not at 50. Simply because Yuka's just been around the longest.
He has always been there.
Best calculator waifu. But
Her and her 1,000-pound thighs.
but yeah, I'm just waiting to see how that goes. I did pull for the 2 clankers, and I got the 2 clankers. I decided to just pull to spark to see what happened, and I got both of them twice each. And yeah, so I've got them if I ever want to use them. They're both quite good. K is basically just a power creep of the what's her name? The problem solver 68, only sane man. Kyoko. She's basically K is a direct power creep, more or lessly, of New Year's Kyoko, and Armed Eris is just like an Unga Bunga damage character. So similar, not quite the same design, but similar in principle to her base version, Eris, where it takes her a long time to spool up her power, but it's like outrageously powerful once she does. Um, but yeah, so I got the both of those to add to the collection. Kay has become extremely popular. She's currently the reigning queen of Comiket. That is to say, has the most materials about her of any character in any fandom.
That's terrifying.
But most people are attributing this to her basically being like the successor to Rin Tosaka as like the archetypal tsundere. Like, because they most of the ones that are written these days are pretty sloppy. Like they just resort to physical slapstick or whatever. Whereas people feel like K is written to be like a very classical and well balanced form of tsundere, which doesn't ever lean too hard into being squishy nor too hard into being uncooperative. But yeah, there's a lot of fans for that character. My goodness, they are going wild. Anyway, moving on. ZZ's totally dead this week. Not really that surprising since the patch is coming out in a few days. Um, Looking forward to that, but there's not really much to be done right now except for desperately trying to collect as much polychrome as possible so that I can start off strong in the new region. I think I'm up to about 51k polychrome, something like that. But yeah, gotta get Valina,
Let's make Jane great
who has
again.
a yeah, the Jane Doe fans are extremely hyped for the coming patch. They're all completely persuaded that Valina plus the whatchamacallit, expected potential unlock is going to be basically the road to back into tier 0 for Jane Doe. But yeah, there's not a huge amount of clarity exactly on what has changed. You can find information on that, but it's kind of difficult to to see exactly how it fits together at this point. The um the leak material is just not very good at presenting all of that. Um, so it's going to be easier to wait for it to be officially announced compared to the information that we currently have available. It's all kind of difficult to pass at the moment, but that is what it is. Um, the last few revisions that I saw of it were just basically um, language changes, so I don't really know what the actual mechanical changes were. They have pushed a series of updates over the course of time, but the only ones that are sort of like there's much clarity on really are the Nekomata changes and the Rena changes, because the changes are quite obvious. Whereas for Jane, I think most of the changes are going to be like numbers tuning, or so it appears. Sort of hard to gauge, but
Even if it doesn't work out to tier 0, us Jane players will be just happy to balance the team, as it were, with a front heavy character to go with the back heavy character. And we've been playing the same team for 10 months now. Just to have a new friend to pair her with so we can mix it up a little bit will be nice.
yeah. Well, the thing is that they're always terrified of of doing anything that might accidentally make Miyabi too strong, because like Miyabi is the other anomaly character who plays like an attack character,
Yeah.
and they're terrified that if they do anything to benefit Jane, it will benefit Miyabi twice as much. And then Miyabi will be, Grand High Empress of ZZZ again for another year. But yeah. Anyway, there's nothing going on this week. Just scratching around in the dirt for the last few polychromes. I think that once the next Hollow Zero season comes out, that will be like the last like 160 polychromes scheduled for the patch, and then I will have hoarded everything that I can. People have already started pointing out things that they have discovered about the new characters, like Claret, for instance. Her family appears to make all of the tools that Grace uses. That's like her favorite power tool brand. Are
Oh
all made
boy.
by Claret's family.
Oh boy. We're gonna have Grace find a way to come visit.
It is an island full of bangbos.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Like
they
I think that they would probably end up putting her in the slammer within like 20 minutes of landing, because she
pro-
would do something untoward.
probably. We've needed to call the booby eye on Grace quite a few times. Remember, like three
Bangboo
seconds.
protection services.
Yeah, remember last time she got close to Arya.
She could smell it.
Poor girl.
But But yeah, there's not much going on events wise. Fortunately, they had a relatively straightforward sheer defense for the last one. Didn't have a completely bullshit room that I couldn't do. Um, so I was able to bumble my way through. Um, but moving on then, Star Rail likewise has nothing happening, which is rather than being the end of the patch cycle, is simply because they put no freaking effort into this patch for whatever reason. Um, it would be nice to believe that they reallocated resources to doing the collab, but I don't have that much faith in that team anymore because they've basically bobbled every ball they've been handed for the most part. Not really sure why, considering they are swimming in money, but they're going to have to respond because their rankings have been dropping like a stone. Like their rankings on Google Play, for instance, have completely bottomed out over the course of like, a handful of days. They've dropped like 10 ranks, sort of thing. Um,
Oh, they got a big old icky
it's
boy up as the only selling thing on this banner.
Well, to be fair, I think that amongst Icky Boys, a Blade Ben is probably going to do quite well, because he's a popular character and he's an edgelord. So he's going to appeal both to male characters who just only want to play the edgelord ever, as well as the female characters who want to ship him with Don Hung for whatever reason. But that and the fact that he's just unbelievably effective meta wise. It's sort of hard to say how long he will be unbelievably effective meta wise for teams other than the Husbando special that they're releasing this region. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But they're going to have to do something to pull finger because I don't think that they can get away with performing like this in front of their bosses, even if there's always going to be like a cushion of whales keeping them up. That's not going to be good enough. They have to abide by the fallacy of infinite growth, just like everyone else. So yeah, they're going to have to bring something to the party, and I'm really a little bit fed up with their slackness, because I really do like the setting and the characters and the sorts of stories that they tell. Like that particular kind of sort of mythic space opera is like my favorite type of story, but they seem to just be really bad at making a game around it, um, which seems impossible to me that they could be this sloppy when they've done reasonably well at it in the past in Honkai Impact, and I'm not really sure why they haven't been able to bring any of that source. There's just the events in Honkai Impact that I've played have been extremely engaging and quite long lasting without just relying on pure time gating. I'm not really sure why they just keep doing weird stuff instead
You
in
mean
Star Rail.
the ship game that you don't have to play?
Oh, all right, I had time to do that because it doesn't take much time to do that. And the thing about that one is like let's lay aside for a moment the fact that it's an auto battler because there are actually people who like auto battlers. I don't really understand why, but there are. Lay that aside for the moment. There's no reason that within the scope of an auto battler that couldn't have been a good event. They just chose to make it not good, which
Mhm.
is utterly mystifying
I just
because there's heaps and heaps and heaps of different read irrelevant equipment that interact in all kinds of interesting combinations, but instead of that, they just made the whole event so trivial that it doesn't matter. Like, I doubt that you even need to follow those thumbs up marks that they needlessly put on there
you don't.
because it's so simple that it's just totally unnecessary. Like, I'm not even sure how you lose at that. I mean, I decided to take it seriously for a couple of rounds, and it's like, well, okay, so I just one shot the opponent every time. Fabulous.
as
Why
opposed
am I
to
here?
as opposed to two-shotting them on the other rounds.
Like, what is the point of this? Like, if I was the guy that developed it, I'd be really upset because it looks like somebody has come in after I've finished putting together my mini game and just said, "No, this is too hard. We're just going to make it real easy, so that even a drooling moron can play it." The market research suggests that the people that convert, that is to say, the people that turn into revenue generators, are not the retards who can't play the game and just discuss the game on Twitter, and are not the people who are too inept to participate in the mechanical side of the game. It's the people who actually are enthusiastic about the game, who really care about it and want it to be good, that make the money. And, that's what has formed WuWa's war chest for continuous improvement throughout the life of the game. Whereas Star Rail hasn't bothered to execute on continuous improvement. And I don't know if that's even the development team's fault, because the number of additional investments being launched by the broader Hoyo company is ridiculous. They have something like 9 different games in development and are dropping billions of dollars on AI tools.
Yeah, like
Or with the sort of the just in case proviso that we might need to have done so, and we will immediately go bankrupt if we haven't, obviously. So we'll just, reallocate all of the money to that.
yeah, and it's really showing in their gameplay. Like I still play ZZZ because there's a competent video game there. Like if I wanted to watch an anime, I'd go
Because they're
watch an
based
anime.
in Singapore.
Yeah, that too. Like you can tell that ZZZ has some kind of different blood flowing through it, even though they got Hoyo there, because it just doesn't feel the same. It feels like the people there wanted to make a video game first. Like if I want to watch an anime, I'll go watch an anime. Like story's important, and but you got to remember the medium you're in. And I don't get that feeling a lot from Genshin or Star Rail anymore. Like they just seem to forget that they're a video game.
Yeah, it's not working out for them though. Like the rankings for Star Rail are dropping even faster than the Genshin ones, which is surprising to me given certain factors, which I'll go into in a minute. But
The doggo idol.
huh?
Oh, Rebecca's doggo that
Oh,
she talks about can show up sometimes,
the
and she
doggo.
plays with it.
That's depressing in its own way.
He's a good boy, and she lifts him up, even though he's as big as she is.
Well, she's got them gorilla arms. Um, yeah. So yeah, Star Rail is resting on its laurels for reasons that are impenetrable to me. I don't really know why. Maybe they'll hit off with a banger next time. Maybe they won't.
That
We'll have to wait and see. But
Star Rail in
th-
particular has a time bomb set by WuWa on its nuts after the events we'll talk about shortly, because they got a collab that's going to be directly compared to WuWa's coming up.
yeah, it's going to be like one of those videos that you linked to me.
Yeah, well, by
The
the
with the black guys.
yeah, I love those guys' videos. I think I've linked a few of them in the mobile games thread. I check them out occasionally. They're funny.
But yeah, um, the thing is that I don't think that there's any excuse, because they uh, they have the money to do well, and they have done well in the past. Which just makes me think that there's basically only two options left for a poor showing, which are number one, a lack of effort, and number two, corporate interference from above.
Yeah,
And neither of those are good enough excuses to keep me spending money on the game. So, you know, they're basically going to stop getting my money. That's the way it's going to go. Um, I was prepared to spend money, but it's not going to happen unless they impress me. Why should it? I'm not going to reward them for not doing a good job. That spaceship game, not a good job. They made poor decisions through and through. I don't know what their market research is telling them. I don't know if we're ending up with like a, for all I know, we're ending up with like a Final Fantasy situation with Dawn Trail, where the people who report on the Western market just say, oh, nah, everybody in the Western market is a retard and can't actually complete any of the content. So I'm afraid you need to make it super, 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 super easy for them. or whatever. Like there's definitely unrest, and I haven't seen anybody say anything nice about the current patch. Like in as much as there is heaps of interesting story elements, that's just basically one guy writing the story. Everything else about the deployment is shabby, and it doesn't need to be. It's only shabby because they didn't choose not to be. So yeah, I'm very frustrated by all of that. As far as the build dilemma goes, in light of how disappointing everything has been lately, I'm basically just going to keep my powder dry. Like I've cancelled all pulling plans pretty much, including for the collab. Like I'm just going to let the Jade mount up for a patch or two at this rate, unless I see a banner that I'm really, really interested in because I've had some bright idea or other. Um, I don't really see any reason to be enthusiastic because they just have not provided anything to be enthusiastic about.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the thing is that it's so transparently obvious. Even from the point of view of being like the person releasing the game, if you go to the events tab and there's like nothing in there, doesn't that make you anxious as the person developing the game?
Yeah.
I
And
mean, it would make me anxious.
good for me too. Like, I don't know who and how they're pitching it, but hang on, there are cubies inside of Lucilla's little screens. Not Lucilla, Lucy's little screens. That was thoroughly distracting. Anyway, um, I got derailed by cubes. Yeah, that would worry me too. You know, you would think we're making a video game. There should be video game stuff to do in the video game, and that should be in the events tab. And having stuff going on there will keep players coming, and that will look good for everybody on the corpo end and the gameplay end. But no,
The thing is that all of it just doesn't quite add up. That's the thing about it, the weird thing about it. Because there's no way that they don't know that everybody is calling this the driest patch in history. Like they're aware of that. They have to be aware of that. They're the ones who made it. And yet there doesn't seem to be any proactiveness to act on this. In the past, they've been extremely proactive to act on complaints, but in the present, they are pretending nothing is wrong, which is really confusing. They're like it used to be that even back during Amphorius, particularly in the first half of Amphorius, they would be releasing sort of like monthly developer diaries where they talked about the things that they were going to alter and the feedback they'd got and the changes they wanted to make, etc. They have not done that for like half a year, as though they've just had their resources strangled and can't afford to do anything but follow the barest points on the roadmap. It's very, very bizarre. It almost feels like there's something wrong at the studio. Like they've either had their war chest pillaged and don't have any money left to develop with, or somebody is interfering with every decision that tries to be made, or somebody's added a layer of obstructive bureaucracy or something that prevents decisions getting made. Because their behavior is different to the way it was before, and they're doing things that are just transparently bad ideas.
yeah,
So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but it's very, very odd, and they're going to pay a price for it. Very literally pay a price for it because people are going to stop spending money on it. The excitement about the Darrail's at an all-time low. Like even when people are at their sort of like their peak of complaining during various points of Penacony and during various points of Amphorius, there was not like the level of disinterest
yeah.
in participating that there is now.
The
And
go ahead.
no, because I was going to segue somewhere. So
Oh,
if you've got commentary on this, go ahead.
oh yeah, because it when it comes out to it, like I didn't have any full plan set in stone aside from wanting to get Plank Okami or Co-Clanker.
That's what I'm basically saving the Jades for. Because I want Pearl.
So basically, the game's got until Pearl comes out, where I'll scoop her, and then I'm not spending money anyway. But if at that point they still don't have anything to grab me, I I'll probably shelve the game like I did Genshin. And I'm setting whenever she comes out as the deadline for them to show me something that makes them remember they have a video game.
Well, to be fair, that's going to be a long time in the future. Like all of the rumors said that she's like 6.7, 6.8 at the earliest. And this has been like that since, pre 3.0. I
Yeah.
mean, three, yeah, it's like, uh, I don't know, I've got the initial number wrong again. So 4.0. Basically she's at the end of the run for whichever reason, I don't know. But the the only thing that makes Star Rail look less bad is the absolute shambolic state of Genshin. So Genshin has been relatively content rich on the story side of things this patch. But the thing is that this patch's main story, like a lot of the player base didn't like it because it was, as they like to say, lore slop. Um, it was basically every single Sumeru Kurumaru story under the sun. And I enjoyed it because it's relatively fresh material for me. But the thing is that's just reflective, like the main story in Star Rail. The main story of Star Rail hasn't sharply declined or anything the way the rest of the game has. It's still sort of holding steady where it was, but the if you excuse the Sumeru Kurumaru story on the same basis that, well, that's being developed in a siloed kind of way, the rest of the patch is just a disaster. Like I suppose I can give a certain amount of latitude to the weird little golf game in the Klee event because it's novel. At least I don't think I've done an event like that before. But I've tried some of the other content and it's just bad, like really bad. And what really took the cake was this week's release of Lowen, the character Lowen. So I did Lowen's character story, and that didn't help. Um, Lowen is basically a carbon copy mechanically of Tsubai without any lunar interactions. That's basically it. He plays exactly the same way, except there's no strategy involved. You just unga bunga because he doesn't have any lunar interactions to play around. He's just a cryo character. So it's like, oh well, I guess what you're expected to do is put Durin in your party and put Nicole in your party and go to town using reverse melt. But that's it. That's it. That's his whole kit. That's all he can do. Unless they're planning to like expand his kit later to take the new superconductor into account, which doesn't really seem like what's happening since even Diona's kit is primed for that, but his isn't. Um, but yeah, he's boring to play and is a penis haver. Um, and his character story doesn't help. His character story is literally 1.x tier along every axis. That has no directorial flair, has no interesting writing, doesn't have an interesting story, doesn't have interesting characters. Everything about it is bland, banal, and pointless, has no bearing on anything. The best bits of the story happen off screen, and you're just told about them having happened. And like the climax is him killing a bunch of Hilichurl trash. And what's more, he's a completely and totally unlikable character. Like he's just a huge dickhead. That's his whole character, is that he's a dickhead. So what planet do you write a character like this? Why did they release this? Like the game would be better off if they had just never released any of this content at all and let it be a dry patch, because he leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Because he's a crappy mechanics, crappy story, just generally unpleasant both to use and to look at. Like it's just awful. It's awful. The freaking Mavwika character story is better. I don't know. It was just a terrible experience all round. Easily the worst character story I've done. in a long time. I can't remember the most of the 1.x ones very well, but the other stupid mistake that they made is that they give Diluc a lot of screen time in the character story, which just makes the whole thing look even worse because Diluc's model is terrible.
Oh, he's got that no expression bug face.
Yeah. Well, that and he's got like a poly count 1/10 of all the other characters on screen and low resolution textures and everything. Like he looks worse than the NPCs in the story. But yeah, everything about it is bad. Everything about it is like this never should have made it to live. They nobody did anything other than rubber stamp this through as though they had no choice but to release the content because
Like,
otherwise they would have had no story in which Lowen takes participates in. So it's terrible. It was really terrible.
I'm gonna get this video in trouble with YouTube censors if I keep Lucilla on the field.
Still getting a lot of hitches of various kinds. It's not good. Don't know what happened. Probably Nvidia's fault. But yeah. So yeah, Genshin ended up being even more sour. The pseudo combat event that they've got in it is really bad and trivially simple. Um, apparently it's basically a rerun of something they've done before, but I didn't participate in it last time, so I don't know anything about it. But it was not very interesting and not very good. Um,
I remember when we first came back, they had a combat event that I thought was a novel idea for them anyway, where it lets you do basically what WuWa's combat events do, and have max level trial versions of a bunch of the characters to just get a feel for them and try them out with different unique objectives in each one. And I was like, oh, that's a good combat event. Their combat events sure have come a long way. Then they never did anything like that ever again.
yeah, well, I mean, I said the same thing last week about HSR, didn't I? That they had that one really interesting combat event where they set novel goals and you had to use interesting combinations of less commonly used characters in order to overcome weird difficult objectives, and then they just sort of scrapped that immediately because probably people cried that it was too hard. I bet that if all the alphabet people disappeared tomorrow, I bet video games would be better.
I imagine a whole lot of media would be better.
Yeah, but I'm particularly salty about video games at the moment because I'm pretty sure that the fact that that quote community unquote has infested Hoyo player base is, radically distorting what they think their priorities should be. That is to say, all of those people are terrible at video games.
Yeah, honestly, while the alphabet people are a huge contingent of the problem, the social media contingent in general, I think, is a problem as well. Because the
But they
people,
all identify as alphabet, so
yeah, but they would just
distinction without a difference.
yeah, but I think they just identify as something else if the alphabet wasn't there. They would find something else to label themselves as for why they're unique and
Well, I didn't say if the alphabet disappeared. I said if all those people disappeared.
yes, that would probably fix it. Because the big thing is the vibe I get from these people is they don't play video games. So if you got rid of them and the people that make video games had to stop pretending these people are something you got to cater to because they don't play video games, and you made games for people that play video games, or even just made stuff in video games that was video gamey that you thought was fun, it would be an improvement.
I mean, I guess that's what everybody is hoping is going to comprise ZZZ's defense, is that there's actually a video game there.
Yeah,
And if you're legit a baddie, you're not going to get through any in-game modes, and it's going to be a huge chore for you to do even basic play, etc., etc. And to some extent, the same applies to WuWa. It's going to be, you know, you're going to feel like it's wasting your time if you're a baddie. If you're like, I mean, I'm a baddie, but I'm not that tier of baddie. That's a special tier of baddie, where most of your most of your being bad at the game manifests as a total unwillingness to cooperate or engage, and then considering this to be a fault with the game itself rather than you needing to get good. But yeah, I don't feel like Genshin has got that defense going for it because, well, basically their end game is so shite that people don't want to participate in it to begin with, and the uh genre for HSR does technically allow you to pay to win, because if you buy enough eidolons, it's going to eventually become impossible to lose. But it's going to cost you money. But it doesn't require you to exert any particular skill unless you are trying to do low cost clears. That's where most of the skill comes from, and the people who are interested in really being good at Star Rail in depth are basically aiming at what is the lowest amount of premium characters and eidolons that can be used to clear this content, and they've got to do some crazy stuff in order to get the numbers to line up right, and that's how they find their autistic brand of fun. And that's all well and good, but that's not what most of the community is doing. What most of the community is just spending their time demanding that all the characters be gay, but while they're busy doing that, they're not learning anything about the mechanics. Like there was a huge drama this back end of this week in the HSR Twitter sphere, about Respen versus Attack, and anybody who actually plays the game knows that in 99 situations out of 100, Respen is better because Attack is oversaturated due to the sheer number of kits and supports that give bonuses to it, and same applies to damage. Whereas Respen is way less common on average. Usually a team will have like one characters, maybe one and a half tops, that contribute any. And since the individual instances of, say, damage increase are additive, whereas the Respen is multiplicative by all of the things contributing to your damage, you're going to end up, generally speaking, preferring Respen. And this is like standard wisdom that has applied to not just not just Star Rail, but pretty much every gacha, Hoyo or otherwise, that you want to diversify your sources of damage enhancement. But this devolved into a huge drama on Twitter because most of the people playing simply don't understand that, don't have any interest in understanding that, just want to be told what the best stat is so they can build only that ever. And yeah, this for some reason ended up being a real contentious issue, which just shows the sort of the average caliber of players of the game, and that average caliber is what the developer is going to cater to. So everything is legit going to end up getting kept simple because the devs have every reason to believe that the majority of their player base is functionally retarded. So yeah, bit of a tragedy there. Um, So yeah, most of the gachas are kind of in a bad way at the moment. I'm not sure what's going on in Neverness to Everness land, but their rankings have also taken a crash this past couple weeks. They must have done something really grievous because people are really unhappy with them. But yeah, WuWa on the other hand wasn't on the top spots of the charts at all, and has suddenly soared to first place on some of them.
Yeah, they had the highest number of Steam players ever. Not since launch, not not this patch cycle ever.
Well, probably this has a lot to do with the fact that it seems that one day the WuWa dev team got up and decided that they were going to just unilaterally raise the bar for collabs.
Yeah, Kuro has in the past been known for their really good collabs, but we got to experience one for the first time this past week. and I can understand why it took a whole year to develop this collab. They pulled out all the set sailing for flavors. Taco is adorable. I love that it's as big as Rebecca is. So, should we stop dancing around it and actually talk about what WuWa did?
Yeah, we might as well. I don't think I've got anything else to cover as far as Gacha is concerned, and I didn't have time to play anything else.
So, this week, WuWa came out with its big 3.4 patch, which is the Cyberpunk collab patch. Um, the thing I've been getting into the Cyberpunk stuff for. Cyberpunk didn't make any money off me from it because I already owned the stuff. But I wonder how many people did just go buy Cyberpunk because of the WuWa patch. I imagine the number is not insignificant. But yeah. So the first things first on this, the WuWa patch basically assumes that you've watched Edge Runners. If you haven't, it's not going to make any sense to you.
Yeah, so
Uh,
as I discussed last week, I did go and watch it beforehand because I thought, well, I mean, I don't know what sort of depth of knowledge is going to be required, and the depth of knowledge required is all of it.
yeah, you need to watch it, and it needs to be fresh in your brain because when they said collab, what they really meant was like episodes 11 and 12 of the anime. Where we are writing the epilogue and closure to the main story that they didn't do originally, and that's our collab.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that it makes it adds a little bit more of a sheen to the Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime for me because WuWa is under no obligation, not being that WuWa is not a cyberpunk story, it is under no obligation whatsoever to kill all of the characters involved.
Hey, Falco lived.
Falco did live,
He
but
still,
I choose to believe it's that his moustache protected him.
I mean, he lost an arm, but he lived.
Yeah, well, that's the cyberpunk city. You get another arm.
Well, that's true, assuming he doesn't have a low tolerance for it. But yeah, so we got our two collab characters up front. We got Rebecca and Lucy. Now you may be wondering, we're just going to have to outright spoil Edge Runners to talk about this. How the heck is Rebecca here if this is a straight up sequel? Because you may
Learn
remember,
to dodge.
well, there's an achievement for that. Um, you may remember the Adam smashed her
Which I thought was honestly just kind of gratuitous.
and cruel.
Like that move was made by the writers for the sake of doing it because they felt like they needed to kill every character apart from, you know, the 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 leading lady and her driver. like there was no like there was no real meaning to it. Like I can understand the argument. I can like from a sort of the writer's perspective, you've got basically Rebecca being the only good person in the cast type of thing. She's she's clearly got a thing for David, and she knows she doesn't have a chance, but she's 100% willing to sacrifice her life for him anyway because that's just the sort of person she is. So she goes on the raid knowing that she's not coming back, and she doesn't come back. But I feel like it would have been nice if they'd given her a bit more of a meaningful death rather than a completely arbitrary one.
Like if she
But the
managed to distract
arbitrariness,
Adam Smasher a bit so Lucy could get away or something.
yeah. But like the arbitrariness of it is sort of like intrinsic to the cyberpunk genre. Like the whole genre is nihilistic. The whole point is that it's pointless.
But yeah. But she's here doing Rebecca things, which involves a whole lot of swearing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really experience that because I played in Japanese, like I do with all of WuWa, and Japanese doesn't really have what in English one would consider swear words per se. They just have relative degrees of politeness.
Yeah. Versus we have the sensor beep is working overtime to keep WuWa having the rating it does
My
in
Twitter
English.
feed has been full of supercuts. Like
Yeah.
everybody has their Rebecca saying things supercut.
Yeah. I posted a picture uh of how Rebecca translates chopped up words into Rebecca speak in the mobile games thread, contrasted with Phoebe, who does not do that. So yeah, me and Val both played the collab immediately, and pretty much the night it came out, we went from start to finish on it. And it opens up with the whole reason that this is all happening is because of the Somnoir. A character that you will not know from Edge Runners is the catalyst for this. Um, your Ripper Doc in Cyberpunk 2077 has a hippie receptionist called Misty, and Misty is like, if think of the most stereotypical new agey hippie that you can imagine, and then put a cyberpunk skin on it. That's Misty.
How do you even be a new age hippie in a cyberpunk setting?
Don't worry about it. I don't know how to seriously answer that question. They just do. But she does some kind of new agey mysticism hippie magic to make Lucy have a deeper sleep, and accidentally sends Lucy into the Somnoir that falls her in through the dream portal into the WuWa world. And in the dream world, Rebecca and David are both there, but David gets split into pieces in the process. So now, when
Well,
Ro
by a certain person in particular who has also appeared in the dream.
yeah, by by the uh by the the corpo Sma-sher himself. But Rebecca made it out this time. So you find her and you help her and Lucy escape, and you get out it back into the Woowaverse. And Rebecca's first response is just like, "What the beep is this place? The beep did you take us?" I think is her actual line. So you explain the situation to, as much as you know, to Lucy and Becca. Becca doesn't follow any of it, but thinks Abby is adorable. And
She's
then
far more concerned about purchasing an abbey than she is about the circumstances taking place.
she is. So you ring up all your buddies at the academy. Lucy is not feeling good after the trip, so you
Except Shisa.
accept Shisa. Like I said, on a motorbike and grilling expedition. But yeah, she's you realize Lucy's not feeling good. You send her to Dr. Luke, and then we get a solid hour and a half of Rebecca being best girl.
Yeah, this is really this, as much as Lucy is ostensibly the main character of this tie-in story, it's really, the magnum opus of Rebecca moments is what this is all about.
Yeah, because Becca was already best girl from the show, and she just solidifies that position with more best girl moments per minute than any other girl has got, even in WuWa. Like, oh, she goes and goes to the arcade and uses her futuristic cyberpunk skills to win the game and get a plushie, but she knows she's not real, so she gives the plushie to one of the other girls, and she hangs out with Lene and Sigrika, and they go make graffiti together, and just like, it's just best.
Basically, Rebecca gets on like a house on fire with pretty much everybody she meets.
Yeah, like everybody is besties with Rebecca by the time they meet her.
which unfortunately there is a certain fate that is assigned to anybody who becomes besties with Sigrika.
Yeah, you shouldn't have did that because now there is no second chance at life for you. Poor Sigrika. We need the Sigrika overcoming her trauma arc because she's got to be doing a real good job at bottling it up at this point.
Well, I mean, you can actually find her furiously in denial around the world at various times of the day in various places. Like you can during certain times, you can find her just sort of sitting in Luke's office, staring at the bed where Danya was. Um, and there's another place you can find her outside the academy where you can just find her talking to herself, and she's sort of debating whether she should apply for um a permit to go and search the dimmer planes for Danya. Like, she is clearly traumatized by everything that's happened.
Yeah, we need to help that poor girl. But she's on the pull it docket now for stuff we'll get to later. So yeah. And then the rest of the story is going into the Somme Noir and experiencing stuff from Lucy's POV about all the stuff that happened at Edge Runners. You know, all this stuff that would have been really handy to have as screen time in the show of her talking about David and her relationship with him and the stuff they did together. You know, stuff we complained wasn't there when we talked about the
Yeah,
show.
all of that relationship building. But I mean, to some extent, it makes some of the it sort of validates some of the complaints in a weird way, in the sense that what I came away with after hearing Lucy spend more time just talking about the type of relationship um she had with David makes a lot more of the things that I felt were sort of missing seem more deliberate. So like their behavior is sort of like made consistent throughout their relationship, even if you don't really get a satisfactory explanation for what it was that glued them together in some sense, other than some sort of like romantic ideal. But the idea that, you've got David making every mistake in the book for Lucy's sake, and Lucy making every reckless decision in the book for David's sake, but neither of them are willing to come clean for the other. Well, they do the same thing in their day-to-day lives, right? So you've got that parallel where Lucy drops her smoking habit simply because David doesn't like the smell, and David stocks his fridge entirely with soda, even though he detests soda, and that sort of thing. So they've got this sort of pattern in their relationship. So the dysfunction in their relationship appears more deliberate than just incidental, um, in the wake of the collab. But it still doesn't really explain what it was that glued them together to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, puppy love at first sight is a thing, does happen, but
Yeah, but we don't have any good way of measuring time in the Edge Runners anime, which is probably the one of the worst things about it.
yeah,
Like, how much time passes from start to finish? There's not really any way of determining that.
yeah. All we know is it ends in 2076. But yeah, so so yeah, you get to experience a lot of that from Lucy's POV. Go through Night City, a little section of it. It's basically just Corpo Plaza and the top part of Corpo Plaza and the Cherry Blossom Market, but it's still a chunk of Night City you get to go explore. There's a ton of Easter eggs and references to the game in there. Of course, the hacking mini
Including that
game.
one that you couldn't even explain. I'm pretty sure it's a reference, but I don't know what to.
Yeah, like there's a Mr. Blue Eyes reference. There's a character that is famous in the lore of modern cyberpunk for 2077 onwards. He's basically the G-Man from Half-Life. He's in fact a direct XP of the G-Man. He's just a dude with blue eyes and a briefcase that is seen in the background of landmark and pivotal moments in the city's history and whenever the player characters are doing something of actual importance. Like there's the talking
Is
vending machine.
is he a character that gets developed in
No,
Cyberpunk, or is he just like an urban legend that's always there?
no, he's literally the G-Man. Unless you are looking real close, you won't see him. He's only known in the fandom, basically, because the developers put him there like the G-Man. He's just always in the background. Never makes an appearance in the story, even less so than the G-Man because he doesn't have a scene at the end or anything. Uh, but yeah, just a mysterious, powerful entity in the background who is there. So he's there. There's a guy that is pretending to be V, V being the player character from 2077. There's the talking vending machine. There's a bunch of the safe for work advertisements because we can't put Milfgard or Midnight Bliss advertisements there, or Watson's Horror series advertisements, or Mr.
And
Stud.
there is no Dicky Twister.
There is no Dicky Twister. That's over in Watson. Uh, so we don't quite go that far north. Not that there would be one left anyway, after what my V did to it. But yeah, you basically wander through the cherry blossom market, and you walk, and you wind up on the top of Corpo Plaza, and then you get teleported to the one of the apartments off in the far areas of town that are the real nice apartments for people that have a lot of money. Where apparently Lucy and David had their thing, had their apartment. So, and that's where she sits there and talks to you about David and stuff. And throughout the time, you're getting assaulted by nightmare tacit discords that look like corpos, like just
And
generic.
shoot directly over Carlotta's head and Rebecca's head, since Rebecca is only 1 centimeter taller than Carlotta.
Indeed. So yeah, funny times. But yeah, it works out pretty good. All this framed with, we need to recover the pieces of David throughout the Somnoir and the real world where the Somnoir is leaking through, uh, to stabilize the Somnoir so that you can actually hurt Adam Sma-sher and break him up, and Lucy can get over her traumas and go back to her world. That's the very gross oversimplification of it, but not not very incorrect.
And let's face it, Adam Smasher needed something because he would not last very long against, say, Cartathea.
No, but the Atom Smasher we get in this game is quite a step in power up from the one we saw in the video game or in the series. Kind of has to
Yeah,
be
but
with what he's going up
I
against.
saw a bunch of people on my Twitter saying that the Adam like actually asking why is it that the boss fight against Adam Smasher is so much cooler in WuWa than it is in 2077.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one in 2077 can't, teleport around at will and do full, chain combos with fluid movement and summon simulacra of the Arasaka Tower to jump off of to squash you.
I like the set dressing though, like they're going into that stage and you've just got the sort of the blood red Arasaka Tower hovering in the sky above the arena.
Yeah, with the blood red moon behind it, like it's just, and you have every time you restart the nightmare version, you have to watch that pan up because it's got to load Smasher in. So yeah, you get a lot of good set dressing there, and
And
they
I also enjoyed the Rover glaze of like, yeah, Adam Smash has got a Sandevistan and Rover you can just no sell it with Spectro powers.
yeah, my favorite of those from the clips going around to people is people using Augusta to time stop him at funny moments
Yeah, I've seen people posting some of those.
because Augusta's ult stops time and lets her RP walk around.
Well, the thing is, Augusta's ult doesn't stop time per se. That's not one of her resonance powers. The implication is just that she's a physical specimen of such incredible prowess that for short periods she can simply move that fast.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. And the Smasher boss fight is really good. Yeah, when you go and fight him as a team, like you're gonna treat him like most WoW bosses. Go through your rotation. You'll have to dodge his attacks. He doesn't have anything that's too outlandish. But they added an extra challenge that I've done with both characters to not on the nightmare difficulty where he has the ridiculous shield that you wouldn't be able to cut through and probably reasonably couldn't do with the trial version of the characters. But on difficulty 5, the normal hardest difficulty, that has everything except the massive bonus shield he gets, um, they have a challenge to beat him with solo Rebecca and with solo Lucy. So a boss designed for a full team with the full team's buffs, you have to 1v1 him with the cyberpunk characters, and they give you trial level 90 characters to do it with if you really want to. There is functionally no reward for doing this. This is just
But
something
but
for
that
masochists to do.
those 2077 credits, man.
Yeah, you get 2077 credits for each one you do.
Real, I see what you did there moment.
Yeah. Like, this is a challenge just for masochists like me that enjoy stuff like this. So, first, I fought him with my Rebecca. I have not done him with the trial Rebecca yet, but I imagine the trial Rebecca can do it too. The only difference will be, a couple more rotations. And I went ahead and wrote out and pasted it in the mobile games thread, a notes for him. I wouldn't normally deem him hard enough to warrant notes, but big collab, lots of people play in this game. People might be tempted to do this, so I went ahead and scribbled my notes. And learning him with Rebecca was a lot of fun because you have to be very careful with Rebecca. Because you may notice if you play Rebecca at all, a bunch of her crap animation locks her. And Adam Sma-sher has a lot of attacks that are very, very fast. And he has combos
And
that
a Sandevastan.
and a Sandevistan. And to compensate for this, just to make it even more tempting, you'll notice I have a bunch of attacks flagged as Sandevistan in green in that Google Doc. All those attacks, Lucy can't hurt him. The only two ways to hurt him are to Spectre over him or to use Rebecca. Rebecca can ignore the Sandevistan effect. So, while Lucy has a higher damage output, Rebecca is uniquely tailored to be able to sneak damage in at points in the fight where Lucy can't to make it a bit more even, which I thought was really cool. So, and she also doesn't have to deal with the functionally 30 seconds of invulnerability he gets at the phase transition. Because Rebecca can just ignore it. He gets 30 seconds of permanent Sandevistan at 45%. And there's just jack all you can do about it. Unless you put...
Dodge!
Yeah. If you're just playing Lucy, you got no answer. You need Spectre over or Rebecca to deal with it. He also, Rebecca only Rebecca, has a unique counter for one attack in particular where he summons that simulacra of the Arasaka Tower, jumps up in the air, shoots his machine gun down, and then crashes down to the ground. If your feet are flat on the ground and you're not animation locked with a dodge, a dodge prompt will pop up. So you have to just be out of the way of the machine gun fire. You can't be dodging it. And then when he's coming down, a dodge prompt pops up. And if you hit the dodge button, you'll be prompted to quickly hit the special attack button. And Rebecca will do a special counter just for her. And you'll get an achievement called Not This Time.
It hurts, man.
It does.
It hurts.
It hurts Sma-sher anyway. It did hurt getting that achievement the first time a little bit. Oh, poor Becca. But Becca got to give him back. And learning the fight with Becca was a ton of fun. The fight basically boils down to you don't ever want to have her in pistol mode in the fight, because while the pistols allow for consistent damage at long range, a bunch of Sma-sher's stuff is more dangerous at long range, so you want to stay relatively close to him. That's the stuff that's easier to dodge and the stuff that has parry windows on it. So you almost always want to have the shotgun out. And the shotgun has a better property than the pistols for its dodge attack. Basically, if you attack with Rebecca with a basic attack, at any point in the basic attack string, you can just start dodging. And as long as you're chaining dodges together, she will do an attack out of her dodge. This consumes a lot of stamina if you do it, but you can get into this loop around him of of dodging through like his Gatling gun over and over again and just getting a ton of toon buildup and damage on him. And as long as you're careful with your stamina and don't interrupt it with a proper dodge counter, you can do that. There's other tricks with her, like you can cancel the weapon swap from her special, her enhanced special attack. You still get the buff. You lose out on the enhanced attacks and its damage, but you can still buff your current weapon by just dodging at the right moment when you have the enhanced special attack ready. So you don't wind up getting locked into the big long animation of the enhanced attack, which often puts you in danger, and still let you keep your current weapon out, and you'll get its respective buff. So this does mean if you do this, you're not going to be able to stack both of the weapon buffs on top of each other. But given the nature of how we're doing this fight anyway, we don't really need that. The big challenge is figuring out when to use her ultimate, because if I do it right here, you'll notice she whips out the Gatling gun and the Lego arms. And eventually, because there's no targets to fill up the bar, it's going to go for a minute. But after that, she goes up in the air and does the big kaboom at the end. All of that is unsafe after the time stop with the Gatling gun happening, because time stops during the Gatling gun. And if you are touched by anything, Rebecca will go flying. And you'll lose out on the final big hit, which is where most of the toon buildup comes from. You don't want that to happen. You also got to be very careful with her enhanced charge attack and figuring out good spots to put that in. And just to be sure you're never quite safe, if you do decide to get greedy, Adam Sma-sher has a 20% chance thereabouts at the end of most of his combos where he can just whip out a shotgun and blast you in the face. And it's very, very fast. Which means you're only really safe after his special moves to be able to do that. That's the time you want to whip out the ult or his or your enhanced normal attack, which means you're going to be sitting on resources. Blowing them when the button lights up is a good way to get dead. Because this is difficulty 5, level 100 Adam Sma-sher. He doesn't have the special Nightmare Mode shield, but his damage is still out the roof. You can take 3 hits. 3 serious hits, and that's it for the whole fight. And this is a solid 3 to 4 minute encounter. And they gave him a lot of moves to learn for a WuWa boss. Like, they clearly put this challenge in here just for people that enjoy this type of content, and I was so happy when they did. I'm glad I did this before I got sick and could really sit down and just go to town learning it, because I had a ton of fun doing it. Especially learning it with Rebecca. Lucy only took me a few attempts to do because Lucy's damage output is just so much higher than Rebecca's. But,
Yeah, it's about 2.5 times.
yeah. So you just don't have to deal with it as much, and Lucy can shut down phase 3. You don't have to do phase 3 with Lucy. If you manage to save her Resonance Liberation for when you get his health bar down to 0, normally he'll refill it to half, and you have to go through a phase where he does and takes more damage. So it's not a long phase relative to the other ones, but it's still very hard, and you have 0 margin for error during it. And with Rebecca, you just have to deal with it. With Lucy, you can stop the regen wherever it's at when you use the liberation and just murder him. So the Lucy version of the fight is way easier. I did it with the trial Lucy, no problem. And though I used my Becca has no constellations, but she does have her weapon. I did get Becca's weapon on a whim, and Becca decided she liked me a lot because she just gave it to me, and I was very happy with that. So yeah, the Smasher boss fight presented in the game, in its gameplay sense, is a lot of fun, and I love that they gave you the solo challenges to do, even though they don't reward anything, not even a title. It's just nice to see that they were confident enough in what they developed, because they clearly designed it to be done with solo Becca. Like, I imagine there was somebody sitting there on that design team that was like, how intricate can I make this boss fight and make it so that it's fun for an S0 solo Becca to do?
And realistically, if they had gone to none of that effort, probably nobody would have noticed.
No, this is just for
Like,
autists like me.
And, not only that, but it's not even like, "Oh, this is like a super important Wuthering Waves lore boss." No, no, this is like a cash grab normally, a cash grab marketing exercise. That's
Yeah.
what a collab normally is.
Yeah, but while this did make them bank, it's the little decisions like that that just stacked up where they decided to go the extra mile on everything to make the Atom Smasher boss that fun and that detailed, to make all the character animations as fun and detailed as they are, to make Rebecca and Lucy as fun to play as they are, to make the story as in depth and well done as it was, that made them that extra money, made WuWa the smash hit this week. If they hadn't done all that, like, they wouldn't be making bank this week. It would just like Cyberpunk would have drawn in some, sure, but you just got normal cash grab money. But their extra effort seems to have paid off big time, like literally paid off. I think the revenue is so far through the charts it's ridiculous compared to normal. And what's more, Becca's free. Like, and
And she works relatively well with, fairly easy to acquire weapons as well. Like, she doesn't have weird special requirements in her stat kit like Carthea.
no, she's not like Cartwheel, not like Lova, Farlova. Even her sister Lucy, like her sister character Lucy, like they got are pretty reliant on their signature weapon. Not Becca. Becca, you get her and you can use her out the box. You can slap any old thing on her and she'll work. Like, obviously, if you want to play her on field and actually do stuff with her, you know, her signature weapon's nice to have and all that, and makes her hair glow. But it's not necessary at all. Her sequences are awful. There is no reason to pull multiple copies of Becca. It's almost laughable how bad her sequences are. But but yeah, you'll get like I think a plus 50% or 60% damage increase if you go all the way down to S3 with Becca or S6 with Becca.
There are still people who are S6ing her simply because Rebecca Best Girl.
I mean, it's an understandable argument. Becca is Becca. But sitting down and just figuring out all the intricacies of her move kit, like she could be played on an account like Fern's as a main DPS that's fun to play just until you get your account off the ground. And then you can easily move her into a heavy attack buffer role. And she's basically more Teffy Pro Max once you get her off field and she's in her sub DPS role like she's supposed to be. So she's not a low value free character, all things considered. Like there are going to be a lot of people that are coming into the game just for the Cyberpunk collab, got Becca, and are going to be perfectly happy going through the game with what they got with Becca. Like there's a kit here. There's a lot of variation in her moveset. Like they gave her the pistol moveset for as well, you know, just in case you really want to do stuff with her at long range. She has both the pistol and the shotgun moveset. She has cancelable buffs, dodge counters, the special Galbrina weapon attack dodges she can do that drain stamina. Like her set is like because it's just Atom Sma-sher, you're flexible as crap with the rest of it. She doesn't need her weapon. She doesn't need her sequences. You can slot just about anything in the other slots for main DPS Becca because she's going to be a placeholder anyway. And she'll work fine on any heavy attack character. You get yourself a Peeb, you get yourself an Augusta, anybody that wants to do heavy attacks, and Rebecca will work fine as the temporary Mortefi replacement until you start working on proper teams. Like she's just a good character to give out for free. She gonna like compete with, you know, a fully fledged, you know, Hiyuki or Cartwheel or Sagrika or you know, pick your meta team. No, but she's gonna get you there. And you know, if you're pulling in a lot of new players, giving them a character that's fun to play seems like a higher priority than getting them set up for meta. We can do that over time and make money off of it. Got to get them hooked first. And if you're even if you're just stuck on field playing Becca on field, it's gonna be fine. She doesn't do nothing for damage.
I mean, I on field main Chisa, who's also a support, so
Yeah.
It's quite doable. Like, I mean, you're not going to be able to, you know, you're not going to be getting a high score on Whimpering Wastes with solo Becca, but that's not the point.
Yeah, that's for down the line after you've already got invested into the game. At that point, Becca's moved, support Augusta or something, or whatever the current heavy attack damage character is.
I'm pretty sure it's still Augusta.
Yeah, Augusta, Galbrina, PB are the only ones that come to mind. Zani too, but Zani has PB that needs to be her second. So
I've seen people playing the Zani Phoebe sustainless with Becca.
yeah, that's
It
an
just
option.
seems rough.
You are very confident in your parries. You can.
Well, you should be if you're playing Zani.
You should be, but I mean, Becca does have a gather in her kit. It's not a super reliable one, but her charged heavy attack on her enhanced shotgun does suck things into the shotgun. Yeah, and that's not to mention Lucy at all, who's just a very fluid character to play. You just never stop doing stuff with this character when you pull her out if you decide to pull for her. Like there was the reason I pulled Lucy was because I sent Vol a message earlier in the week when the oh no happened. I didn't pull for her until today. Because today's the last big batch of free pulls we'll get. We get 3 more pulls today. 4 total, I think, actually, from the login. And I got Encore on the free pulls earlier in the week. And I was just like, you know that feeling when all your pull plans start wobbling like you're in the middle of a death wobble on a motorcycle? That's where I'm at right now. And I got Lucy because she's a lot of fun to play. As a character, as a gameplay character for a main DPS, they did a real good job with her. She plays a little differently than some of the other characters in the cast, in that you want her to lead if your ult is available out the gate.
Yeah, they sure didn't spare no expense on the visuals.
No, no, girlfriend is sipping on that Blackwall juice like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, but basically, when you break down her kit in terms of the mechanics, it sounds very standard. It's only when you see her like attacking stuff that it becomes clear just how fluid this kit is. It just doesn't stop. It feels like the offensive half of Jane's kit, where you don't have to rely on the dodges and stuff to keep it going like you do with Jane, but the offensive part of it where you just keep on going and don't stop, flowing from one attack into another, chaining her mechanics together back to back to back. That's what Lucy does. And she looks nice when she does it. She's a lot of fun to play. My account has a negative reason to pull for her. She's a heavy attack Spectro character. Guess what? I already have 2 of that I run regularly. But she's a collab character. She's not going to be here forever. I already got
Sure do love your Spectro and your Eero.
I do. But yeah, so yeah, there was no reason for me personally to get her, but she's a lot of fun. And when you use her ult, you get to do the hacking thing from 2077 and pick the buffs you want. For
You say
90,
use her ult, but she's got like 3 ults.
yeah, the one that actually uses the ult bar, where you pick the debuffs you want. That one, like
I
for
mean, there's
9,
an answer other than everything.
yeah, because you can't you're excluded from picking 2 of them. You have to leave 2 out normally, unless I think one of her sequences fixes that. But I think if you get her to like S2, you can pick all of them. But for 90% of cases, you just want the top ones, straight down, so you can just
I'm
hold
pretty
down the
sure you
trigger.
can get all of them when you're doing the Black Wool Juice version.
Possibly. Like I said, just got her today, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to mess around with her. But yeah. But she's just a fun character to play. They did a great job with her. Like I'm not a super big Lucy fan, but she's a lot of fun to play. I do have her S1 because it took me too many pulls to get her and her weapon, even though I lost the 50-50 to Encore. But I'm still good for getting Augusta when she comes up on rerun. I'll have enough time. I think I still am fine actually. Pulls, cause
Well,
Lucy.
you definitely will be because we have no idea when Augusta's going to be.
Yeah. The question
So
is,
unless she's like comes up tomorrow somehow, then we'll be fine, I think.
yeah. So, well, there's always the problem with WuWa characters as of late is they all will be pretty or look good to play, and I'll be stuck with a because Lucy
Yeah,
wasn't on the pull plans.
I've got a pull plan as long as a piece of string. Like there's gonna be no rest for me.
But honestly, that one big purchase of Asteroid I made has carried me through far enough. And Lucilla was nice to both of us. Nice, much nicer to you, but she was nice to me too. So, and I don't even have a use for her yet. I literally can't use Lucilla.
Well, I got her because I really, really like Hiyuki, and she's the perfect support for Hiyuki, the perfect sub DPS for Hiyuki. So, she was. I wasn't originally intending to pull her based on just the designs that were announced at the start, um, of the region, but and in the end, I decided, well, no, I like playing Hiyuki so much that I need to maximize her. So all of my coral has been earmarked for Hiyuki wave bands, and I put Lucilla on the pull list, and it didn't end up stinging me too badly in the end because I did them in 10 pulls, so I did spend the 10, but I got Lucilla on the first pull of the character banner, and
You're,
everything else was dross. And I
so
got her weapon on the 20th pull.
you're 9 into pity for your next character.
Yeah. I guess you could very positively view it that way. I am 9 into pity. But yeah, so yeah, next character, unless I decide to pull dupes of somebody for some reason, my next character I'm targeting is Yang Yang, the new Yang Yang, or her sister, whoever goes first.
Yeah. So in general, uh, because I effectively won the 50 or lost the 50-50 early, it's basically the 50 this for the character banner for me for Lucy. So did not have to spend very much for the characters. I was There was a feeling I had when I was looking at the team builds for PB and the current team builds, and there is a version of the PB team that's being popular right now with Becca. And I was like, oh man, if Becca's a PB partner, I can't just let her not have her weapon. And I got it on the first 10 pull. And as the glowy animation was pulling, the fact that I knew it was her weapon because there's no 50-50 loss to the weapon in WuWa made it that much of a happier experience. I think you were there when I did that.
I think so. Yes, I was. I remember I had your stream up.
So yeah. But yeah, the story concluded very well. It gave closure to Lucy, even though it's just going to be a fuzzy dream memory to her. It's implied she'll still have at least the feelings that came with it, even if she doesn't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah,
And
but it's like she's gone from basically being the Walking Dead to actually thinking that maybe it's worth living.
yeah, so it brought closure to her into the story, which was very desperately needed. And it was very sad seeing Rebecca go again. I don't care.
She took it like a champ.
She did. I don't care about David. David can go jump off a cliff. He was an idiot. But it was sad seeing Rebecca go again.
She's gone to be with Cup Cup.
Okay, Cup is still here in the Woowaverse. All you got to do is idle with her long enough on flat ground.
Have you played with Lucy's idol yet?
Yeah, I got the Chivo for it.
Just another case of didn't need to do this. Nobody would have noticed if you hadn't.
Yeah, it's a rare idle animation for Lucy, but sometimes she'll whip out the hacking minigame, and you'll get a prompt to play it, and you'll get a simple hacking minigame, and if you play it and clear it, you get an achievement.
Yeah, so what happens if they release another like Spectro DPS who's like a cheerleader?
I mean, we're in for a few pounds already. Might as well go in for, a whole ton.
Maybe there'll be an Aero DPS. It could happen.
Yeah, like I pulled Lucilla to pull an arrow DPS. So Siggy or yeah, our girl Sigrika is now bookmarked. Maybe you can
But
get her too, and
yeah.
we can both throw soul scan at stuff.
Well, I was planning on getting Qingxiao for my Aero DPS,
But
but I don't know what the structure of her team will be like. It could have a Nicky Boy on it. Um, that's always the risk, right? You never know what team is going to end up with a Nicky Boy on it,
mhm.
so you need to have alternatives.
Sigrika is adorable, and she throws soul scan at stuff.
She's a terribly traumatized young woman.
She needs more friends that don't die.
No, if she makes more friends, she'll get more traumatized.
You condemn anybody on the planet to death or worse if they become friends with Sigrika. Going to travel to. There's going to be a patch, several versions down the line where a bunch of old characters go like in to rent a theater or something and to celebrate Carnival. You'll get to see a bunch of characters interact that normally wouldn't. And Sigrika is going to become best friends with PB. And just be like, oh no.
Oh dear. I bet they would get along like a house on fire too.
Uh huh. So yeah, the Cyberpunk patch was great. The story was great. The characters are fun to play and great. Becca as a free character is an amazing free character to give out. Like the boss fight's great. The area to explore is great. Like it blew all the other Gacha collabs I've ever seen out of the water.
There's only one fly in the ointment, which didn't really affect Aristeel, and that, for me, the performance was terrible.
Yeah,
And I did some research online. There's a lot of people with no real consistency between them. Like this isn't an aspect of their rig or anything like that. Well, at least not in terms of like output power. It's more. It just seems that certain people seem to have whatever combination of equipment and drivers that just hate some of the translucent animations that are in this collab, and it just causes everything to grind to a halt. There doesn't seem to be any concrete solution to it either. Some people reckon they've had various things work, but I haven't had anything work definitively that remove all of the hitches. Scrubbing all of my shaders did remove some of the hitching, but it's still it's still there. It's not. We were suffering performance issues after a patch. Is not strange by any stretch of the imagination, but this is the first time that I've seen it happen, to this extent. But they've always been very good at working hard to improve optimization, even though it's sort of become a meme that lol WuWa optimization. But realistically, they've covered more ground than any other gacha maker in terms of optimization. And they've said in interviews that they've got a team that is dedicated to basically constantly rebuilding the fundamental tech of the game so that they don't ever end up in a situation where they've got too much technical debt to do something.
yeah,
So yeah, that was the only slight fly in the ointment, was that it kind of ran like dog water, but in exchange for running like dog water, it did look absolutely gorgeous. Like their transplantation of Night City into the WuWa engine was it's so standing on the balcony and staring out at the city like you've got no reason to believe that you aren't just playing Cyberpunk.
yeah. Except for the part where the balcony didn't load for me.
Oh, the balcony didn't load for me during the cutscene either.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah,
that
there's a few. I ran into a few bugs that were solved in the next patch. I also ran into one where, um, just before you go to the apartment, there's a bunch of corpos spawn in a sort of a circular area at the end of the market,
yeah.
and you have to kill them. That for me, and apparently this was a documented bug. They spawned inside an invisible box, which then and the invisible box was supposed to disappear, and they were supposed to attack you. But that didn't happen for me. The box stayed there, so I couldn't get to them, and they couldn't get to me.
Kind of
So
awkwardly staring at
I
each other.
I pulled. They were furiously trying to attack me, but I pulled them up against a piece of terrain that bridged the uh, the invisible box and attacked them through the terrain, and I was eventually able to wipe them out that way. But yeah, it was a progress blocking bug, and there are on the bug list. There are a few of these. That was just the one that I encountered. But I think most of them have been patched out now. Just a better rate of fixes than Cyberpunk proper had.
Mm-hmm.
I find it a kind of amusing that the worst performance problems that WuWa has ever had came along with the Cyberpunk collab. It's sort of fitting in a way.
It's like Night City just does things to your rig.
Uses up all the RAM.
Oh, that's what Lucy does.
But yeah, I think it's probably something to do with the way the Unreal Engine tends to strangulate your CPU and leave your GPU idle instead of pushing things to your GPU to handle, which it really should.
Yeah.
Like, generally speaking, the engine underutilizes GPUs relative to CPUs.
Yeah, and you can for non-gotcha games, there's a INI file you can drop in there to fix most of the Unreal issues. Gotcha games, you can't do that. I did have a problem installing shaders for this patch where it crashed at shader when it was recompiling the shaders.
Yeah, I had a couple of those. Well, it didn't crash per se. It sort of locked up long enough that I was fairly confident that it crashed.
Yeah. So I had to go manually remove all the shaders and accidentally nuked all my shader preset or my in-game filter presets. And I hate trying to when I was trying to rebuild them. I was trying to figure out what I did, and I was
I always record the numbers in a notepad.
yeah, I forgot to do that or something similar, which is odd because I take quite a few notes on this kind of stuff. Just didn't do that for this one, and
Do you learn your lesson?
yeah, I got screenshots now, sliders, but I'm using a different
Yep.
layout than I did before.
I tried using the NVIDIA one, and I couldn't get what I wanted out of it compared to the in-game one. The in-game one was just more user-friendly.
Yeah, so I hate
It's
going.
more it's system efficient to use the NVIDIA one if you can get it to do what you want.
Yeah, but the in-game one is robust enough that you'll get what you want if you just mess with it enough. And the UI
Yeah,
is
the
way
problem is
cleaner.
I can't afford a new graphics card. Yeah,
But
the NVIDIA one is sort of like halfway between the Wuthering Waves one and the plugin that we were using with Final Fantasy.
oh yeah, but don't go search the internet for what they recommend for stuff because what I learned is people like the high grayscale dystopian filter.
Yeah, the dystopian one is really, really popular. Like you know full well I don't play my games like that. Like I use ridiculously high saturation and large amounts of bloom. Like I'm like the opposite of dystopian in terms of my visual tastes. I want everything to look lurid, like it's Genshin or something.
Yeah, I don't do that. Actually turn the bloom down and the saturation down a little bit, but I like the vivid color schemes or the vivid filters otherwise. and we'll
I
just
don't really like most of the filters. I built all of my changes on the normal filter because I like the color balance of WuWa the way it is naturally.
yeah. So I make it a hair more blue than normal, but otherwise use the vivid palette and like to turn the brightness up, but I don't turn up the bloom and I don't turn up the color saturation. And I put a very minuscule amount of sharpening. Not a lot, just a
I use quite a bit of sharpening because if you use heaps of saturation and bloom and you don't use more sharpening, it just ends up looking fuzzy. So
yeah.
you've got to adjust it to compensate.
So yeah. But the WuWa community though loves their grayscale dystopian filters.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I did spend quite some time toying with it to try and see what they saw in it, but it just didn't look good to me. It didn't look fun. It looked edgelordy. I was just not. I was just not into it, man.
Like
Like I've basically used a default color palette that has sort of been tuned in the direction of a more vivid color scheme, but while keeping the color temperature constant. So I've got some sharpness in there. I've dimmed the brightness to adjust for the fact that I've increased the contrast and saturation pretty significantly. And I've put quite a bit of bloom in there, but that's pretty much all the changes that I've made. It more or less just built around using the same basic color palette but intensifying it. I tuned it mainly around Chisa's visual effects on her attacks.
but yeah. So if you're not playing WuWa, now's a good time to come in.
Unless you're Fern, in which case you're stuck trying to run a taxi business solo.
We have Becca.
I haven't spent much time playing with Rebecca yet. I'm not even sure how you're like quote supposed unquote to play her.
She's very
Um
very close to a hit it and forget it if you play her as a sub DPS. Not quite all the way there. You do a full
well
rotation of her basic attacks and do her enhanced heavy attack and her enhanced weapon swap, and then you do her ultimate either at the start or the end of that, and then you swap her out. But
well, the thing is, I'm probably not going to use her as a sub DPS because, like I said before the show, I've got no heavy characters. So the role that she's likely to be earmarked for is the replacement Kalchara.
hmm,
I mean, seriously, who wants to play Kalchara? But Kalchara currently occupies the first two tiers solo on the left and right towers, but it was really freaking messy getting it there. So basically, because I don't have a team per se to play Rebecca in, probably all of Kalchara's echoes will get pillaged to the extent that any of them are any good, which is not really. In order to supply the best of them to Becca, and then I'll backfill with attack echoes and try and farm up an Adam Smasher that doesn't suck.
yeah, if you have her on field, the Atom Smasher Echo is a big part of her DPS because it's free.
But I didn't get miraculous smasher like you did, so. But I've had very, 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 very bad luck with echoes lately. It took me a very long time to get a serviceable set for Lucilla, and they are only what I would call serviceable.
Yeah, you can see my 4 statter Smasher that I got for Becca right here. Double crit, 4 stats on a crit rate, Smasher.
I've spent a lot of time trying to dress up my echoes for a variety of characters, but I have not had a very good time doing it. I just seem to miss over and over again. I have extinguished my entire supply of Voidborn Construct echoes, converting all of them to crit damage echoes over weeks and weeks and weeks of farming, and I still haven't gotten like my best one is a three statter, and I have invested a lot of resources trying to get it better than a three statter. I've even invested the whatchamacallits, um, those obnoxious little bastards that don't work very well. Um,
Oh, the circle things.
yeah, the transducers. I even invested transducers in it to no avail because the transducer is basically the worst system in the game. I don't even know why they added it. Like that's just really, really bad. The idle that you're doing at the moment. Did you know it actually breaks things?
No,
Like set it up near some ore and then wait for it to go off and it will mine for you.
that's awesome. Has to be on flat ground though. She won't do it unless it's relatively flat ground.
Yeah. I don't know if it hurts monsters because you generally can't get close enough to a monster to idle, but it does break boxes and break ores if it hits ores enough times. But yeah, so I made out like a bandit on the Lucilla banner. I don't really intend to get any wave bans for Lucilla. I might think about it if it turns out that in practice she's got um, a major hole in her vulnerability to being interrupted or whatever. But since her field time is so low, you can probably solve most of those problems with positioning. So I probably won't worry about that, and I'll keep hoarding my wave bands for Hiyuki unless I absolutely fall in love with Yang Yang's playstyle or Susu's playstyle or whatever. And then there's also Chisa. Like if Chisa comes back, then I'll have to fight once more against the urge to just S6 Chisa.
It's going to be a
But
very hard battle for me and Phoebe if she comes back. Because if she does
but
come
yeah,
back
with
again, she likely won't come back again.
with whatchamacallit, with Aima Fusion Burst and with Hiyuki Glacio Chafe, Chisa has basically been Bitcoin. Um, absolutely no use or application initially, but now has two teams that she's absolutely gangbusters in. And there's rumors coming out that she's also going to work with the Yang Yang Susu team although interestingly as a sub DPS is what the leakers are saying, not as a support the way she is with the other teams that she participates in, which would make a degree of sense because she only gets one vigor and nobody's ever been able to explain why she should be the only like fundamentally a support character who only has one vigor. And the easiest way to explain that is that she would, in some context, do too much DPS to get two vigor, and that could be because she plays a sub DPS role where she can convert through some mechanism her havoc into her havoc bane into damage of some kind. But yeah, we will just have to wait and see if that rumor turns out to have any truth to it. But structurally, her distribution of effectiveness in combat does have more of a resemblance to than it does to, say, Shorekeeper. Like, she definitely doesn't do as much damage as fundamentally, but she also doesn't heal as much or buff as much as Shorekeeper. So she's sort of partway between the two and has a lot of sub DPS trace to her. So maybe it is that she will function as a sub DPS for 5-star Yang Yang. In which case, I might end up building another team that needs Chisa. She's such a busy girl. No wonder she doesn't have time to participate in the story.
The only busier girl is Lene. That's because everybody can use Lene. Not a single character in the game doesn't want Lene.
Well, she's also busy in story terms because not only does she appear in every story, but it sounds kind of like that she's sort of functionally being blackmailed into being Lucilla's gopher. Like she's always doing things for Lucilla and Mornier probably because they know that she's going to need the credits sooner or later.
Girlfriend Girlfriend is the most needed DPS, sub DPS of all time. Not a single
Yeah,
team
that
out
was the
there.
other. So if you look at the math, for the Glacio Chafe team, the uplift between Lene and Lucilla is a very, very small uplift in Lucilla's favor. Like Lucilla does definitely benefit the team and makes it stronger, but it's not by a huge amount. We're talking like 10-15% tops. Um, based on early math. But the reality is it's not about that, it's about freeing up Lene. Because in two team contexts, Lene contributes more damage by bringing the Ameth Tune Rupture team to its final form than she does by staying in the Glacier Chafe team. And she's also, part of the shell that works with everybody. So yeah, it just makes sense to have Lene operating as a free agent. She doesn't even need to be with Mornier in order to contribute to to a team. Like I am planning to just run her alongside Shorekeeper in the Carlotta team to make Carlotta more effective again by giving her a more matured team. And I'm sure it will work fine. I haven't had a chance to put it through its paces,
I
but
yeah, I fire Arrow Rover on the Cartwheel team, which is normally a really bad idea, but in Whimpering Wastes, Lene is infinitely more valuable. Like, girlfriend just there isn't a single team that exists on any given account that isn't like I couldn't find a use for Lene. No, every team can find a use for Lene. Girlfriend can be used somewhere in some context with every team.
I kind of liked the sort of like unsubtle subtlety with which they handled Lene in the collab story. Like they didn't do anything as gauche and come out and have Lene, recite her life story to Rebecca, but you can see her thinking it just in the way they do the expressions.
Yeah. Speaking of expressions, when Lene is whispering to Rebecca about how she totally has a different mode of transportation, the facial animation guy and Rebecca's face, when her face just gets bigger and brighter as Lene is whispering about the motorcycles. I like that a lot. I thought that was
I
really cute.
I'm really hoping though that this collab will add some legs to my one man campaign to put story replay in the game. Because I've been putting that in literally every single feedback form since the year dot. Like I want the story replay to be in the game, and I want it to be set up like Final Fantasy 14, not like Star Rail. Star Rail's a good start, and since Star Rail is mostly talky stuff, most of the time it works. Though there are a few situations when I'm reviewing Star Rail's story where Star Rail breaks down completely. Like stuff has happened in sequences that aren't recorded in the review files, so it doesn't work all the time. But if they can put in like a fully fledged replay, I think that would be great because the story is great and there's heaps of really like just cool sequences, like when Cartathea encounters Meow for the first time, or is it Lupa? I don't even remember who it really was, and the sequences like Galbrana's sequences in her patch and that sort of thing. Just like really cool stuff that is worth a replay just for the experience. Like I want to be able to see that stuff again, and I feel like for a lot of people, the Cyberpunk collab will be like that they would just like to go through it again.
Yeah. Also, I found that GIF. You could see how much fun they were having with the facial expressions this patch.
We're not quite at Gmod, but we're getting there.
Like they have
I,
clearly just added more bones to faces to make them more expressive here.
they talk a bit about. Well, Rebecca talks a bit about that. There's just like this one corp in Night City that makes everybody's ocular implants.
Oh, Kuroshi.
But how come how come Arasaka hasn't just taken them over?
Uh, I was under the impression they had.
I mean, why does Rebecca of all people then make a distinction?
Because I guess that's just the brand name on them. I don't know.
Why does Arasaka make a distinction? Like, it
I
doesn't
don't.
really make any sense.
Well,
Because
actually,
all of their other every single other industry they run is called Arasaka, no matter
actually,
what they handle.
actually, the Kuroshi implants have an Arasaka variant, so Arasaka might not own them, but
Oh,
they're
so they license them.
yeah, there is a brand of Kuroshi implants that has Arasaka in them. It has Arasaka on the name, so
'Cause there must be some kind of quid pro quo going on there because, like, there's no way that a company like Arasaka would allow virtually all of their employees to be carrying implants controlled with the tech's controlled by a different company.
oh, that's a big deal actually. Corpos have their own proprietary implants that they give their employees, and when you get fired from the company, they rip out all your implants.
I see.
Yeah, a big part of the corpo background is you fall from grace with the corpos and wind up on the streets. They rip out all your proprietary implants. Go that path. Eee, Oreo Turpit
She does know how to enjoy life.
involves a lot of swearing.
I haven't heard her say a single swear word.
Right there in the subtitles. It is really
Well, I
funny in
said
the
heard.
it is really funny in the Adam Smasher fight because Adam Smasher also has a mouth on him, and if you will often get chains where they are just swearing at each other in the fight. Not as scripted interaction, but just it kind of works out that way because they both swear at each other so much. Rebecca has one infamous quote in her regular lines that's just "You're effing dead" with a big ol' censor beep over effing in English.
I'm gonna find it. If is it one of your combat thingies?
Yeah, it's like injured 3 or something.
I want to see what it sounds like in the Japanese. If I've got it unlocked, I don't know what the unlocking protocol is for these.
Yeah, it's injured 3.
Uh, she has 8 resonance liberation sayings.
Yeah, girlfriend yaps a lot.
Yeah, she just says something like, "I'm going to kill you." There's a lot of expression in the way she says it, on account of there's no curse words available for use in that language. But the message has gotten across, I would say. But there's no censoring because there's nothing to censor.
The censor beeps add a lot to the English localization of this one, I think.
I'm glad that they went with the censor beeps for the sake of people listening to it in the English, rather than the more modern approach of just like muting it.
Yeah, or the abridgment of it of effin or something. Just make her say the swear word, but censor beep it to keep your rating. Like Rebecca is a foul mouthed little girl. Take that away from her. She's not Becca no more.
Can you get her pistol in 2077?
Not her pistol, only her shotgun.
Uh, in some ways, I think her pistol is more iconic because she points it at David's head.
It is true. That is a really funny scene too. I think one of her talent icons is actually that scene.
Yeah, all of her talent icons are scenes. I've seen the comparison pictures showing
Yeah.
where they all derive from.
Oh, it's her S2 icon. That's the her holding the pistol in her underwear pointed at David's head. second sequence. Yeah, her Forte Circuit one is the one she gets. That's her also in 2077 as the shotgun tier one talent icon when they changed all the icons. So glad Trigger made Becca still be a character.
Oh, they had to fight for it.
They did, but Becca made the whole experiment worth it. So yeah, I don't really know what to add. You haven't done the main story yet. There's not much to talk about in it anyway, so it's very short. We'll get to it, and we'll talk about it next week. Um, Cameraman continues to find new and creative ways to have fun. There is a first person segment where they deliberately don't let the camera go down far enough to look at the goods, as it were.
Because that is now the first thing that you try every single time.
Yes. And also, it's on demand with Lucilla anyway. You know, just in case you feel the need. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to add on the WuWa stuff. Do you have anything else?
Mm, I don't think so. I don't think so. All in all, it's been a pretty good patch. I've only done one round of the racing thing, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's
It's
not.
a it's not a nothing event, but it's not anything to write home about either.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with the new version of the elusive realm thing, the Somni thing. Haven't touched that yet, but at least it's around for longer than the last one was. I'm wondering if that's why they did it again so quickly.
Yeah, and it's elusive realm. You know, you get to demo a lot of characters in it. It's always okay for that. Nothing else. Characters they'll be in elusive mode, so they'll be super buffed. But
It, it is my favorite thing to do though, like playing characters outside of their normal context. Like I really enjoyed the Lumi run that I did.
I like the Roshia run I did.
But yeah, the most outrageously OP one that I did was Mornier. Like Mornier main DPS is just like everybody dies and you can't be touched.
Yeah.
But yeah, uh, Shorekeeper was also crazy powerful. Um, because no attempt has been made to balance them, of course.
Yeah. I did I went through it and did cartwheels as the one I cleared the bosses at the end, the bonus bosses at the end with, and got the full clear with. But cartwheel doesn't change all that much. It's just
I didn't have time to do I didn't have time to do the final round of the last one. Like it was there's no reward for doing it, and I was just too pressed for time.
yeah. So yeah. Yeah. We'll be getting a few more minor events throughout the rest of the patch, but solid content to hold us over for a while. A ton of people are going to be talking about WoW for the next month. Uh, I'm a fan.
Yeah, hopefully they don't bring in any toxic individuals who will decide that you know what would really improve WoW, more alphabet people.
And
It's
already,
always the risk when you aren't hipster anymore. When you become popular, it's like oh maybe we can cater to wider audiences.
I do like that they're coming into the patch where you can you can literally whip the camera out and look down. Like how much offense do you think they'll take to that?
I doubt they'll even know about it. No, none of those people are going to pull for Lucilla.
That's true. She is girlfriend has a purse.
Yeah, she's too feminine. Like as much as they claim they like girl bosses, they don't like girl bosses who are also pretty.
I turn the sepia filter on and take a picture, oh, do you see the sepia filter on the rest of the boat?
No, no, no. This is like moons in the sky and that kind of thing. It's just a filter applied on your side. It's not an actual change to the physical world.
Okay, if you whip the camera out again, it just disappears. Quick disappear it.
Which is good because it was kind of alarming the first time that I saw it.
Yeah. The reason you will not want to push the echo skill with Lucilla is because it does. You have to sit here and do this. It takes forever.
What does it even do?
It shoots little balls.
Malls.
So yeah. I think that's all we got for WuWa stuff. Have a really good collab. We have two fun characters. We have boobies, and a camera.
Did you check the email?
I did before the show. I can check again.
Well, I don't know that that's going to yield anything. I was just wondering if you checked it, but
No.
I don't. I'm trying to think if I have. Like, we haven't done a terribly long show, but I'm trying to think if there's actually anything much that I wanted to talk about in terms of other news that happened this week.
There.
Um,
This is tangentially related to stuff I sometimes talk about. It's not particularly happy news, but one of the Yu-Gi-Oh creators, one of the last ones I followed, uh, got by the colon cancer. So he passed away this week.
it does get you. It is. It seems like it's always late to be picked up, and there's not much you can do about it once you do. Like, you could get any of us, basically.
Yeah. So he was one of the last YouTube creators I did. He was one of them ones that when I was talking about, I would watch a guy that would go around and show Yu-Gi-Oh cards to Magic players and have the Magic players try and guess how good it was in Yu-Gi-Oh. He was the guy that did that, and he made some good content
I see.
and was well liked in both the Magic and the Yu-Gi-Oh. Got by the colon cancer. So now I'm not subscribed to any YouTube channels that follow Yu-Gi-Oh. Because he was the last one.
I'm astonished that Yu-Gi-Oh is still making sets. My goodness, like how much text is going to need to be on them?
We'll just have to print double wides.
Is that a thing?
No, not yet. Like, what? It's the like Endymion, the mighty something or other.
What?
Yeah, okay. Most card text this is a blown up version. In case you're wondering what the most card text on a card is, and this one is kind of a double wide, except it's a double tall for its card effect. No, I don't know what most of those effects are. After my time, but that's the most
I
card text on a card.
I see. There are lots of things on there.
We're on a double box.
And the art is mediocre as usual. I've never been a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh's art, and most of it just seems tacky.
I
I'm
like
sure that in future most of it will be AI generated.
I liked the old Yu-Gi-Oh art. I like your classic Blue Eyes White Dragons and your Dark Magicians. They're big, campy, and
You
dumb.
mean your Hungry Burgers?
I like Hungry Burger. He is a funny card for a do nothing ritual monster. You cannot deny that Hungry Burger is not memorable.
Yeah, not neither of us got round to watching the whatchamacallit, the show, right? The announcement show.
Oh right, there were a few of those actually,
Whatever
and
whatever
no.
they're calling it now.
Well, I do have an anecdote. I didn't watch the Nintendo presser. I don't even really know all that was announced. But I had my cousin go up to me. Oh, you watch it? See the cool what they announced? I'm like, is new IPs or just remakes? And his face just went kind of like he wanted to tell me something cool because he knew I hadn't watched it. But as soon as I said that, like all the enthusiasm drained because the thing he was going to tell me about was Ocarina of Time remake
Again? Isn't
again.
this like the third or fourth time?
I think they have they had the DS version, so I guess we can count that as a remake. Now they're doing a full blown HD remake. I'm like, that's it. That's our big thing. Never mind that Ocarina of Time is not one of my nostalgia products.
It is for me. Like very much for me. It's sort of like the dead center of nostalgia for me.
Yeah, I did not play that on the N64. I played it later, much later.
It was like my second ever N64 game, something like that.
I played a ton of N64 as a kid, but I did not own Ocarina of Time. I actually played Majora's Mask before I played Ocarina of Time because I actually rented that as a kid, but they have Ocarina of Time at the time.
When you have to pay $120 in 1999 money for a video game, you remember it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're remaking a game. Are there any sequels or new IPs at least? He's like, there's a new Fire Emblem. Okay, and
The only curiosity associated with Fire Emblem that I have is what incredibly bullshit method are they going to use this time to get you to buy the game 3 times?
I still am mad at Fates. At least with three.
Did they ever re-release it as like a single game congealed into one lump?
Nope. It and what's worse, there was never a physical release for the tr- the true ending route. You had to buy it digitally.
Why would you do this?
It was fucking. Oh, like Three Houses, they only had one copy that you needed to buy, and the follow up, I think they only had one version of Fates. But they had that weird spin off that went with it, the Dynasty Warriors spin off. Not Fates. I don't even remember what the latest one was called. But yeah. So yeah,
Nor do I.
I just took the fucking sales out of him when I asked, okay, do you have anything that's a new IP or a sequel? Because that's going to be my response to anybody that comes to me from a game show from now on. Like, okay, you're telling me a whole lot of stuff. Anything that's a new IP or a sequel look good? Because if you're just going to come to me with the remake, I don't care. I'm so tired of remakes. I played most of these games multiple times that are getting remade.
Well, I think this is just like the era of risk averseness. Like we've got this, you know, we're like elbows deep in post-COVID era now. COVID is a distant memory to those that even remember it ever happened, since most people appear to memory hold it. Um, and all of the crazy money that was made by various companies when people had nothing better to do than play video games is now long gone. And everybody's terrified of spending because they spent too much when they had that money. So risk aversion is at an all-time high. People are going to only be investing in things that they are absolutely confident are a sure thing. I don't think that there's actually even really any video games I'm looking forward to this year.
I mean, I'm looking forward to Trail's second chapter. Kyoto Xanadu will be a nice short
It's a
distraction.
remake.
Yeah, that's a remake. Kyoto Xanadu will be interesting. I'm not expecting much from it. They don't ever give very much, very much budget. That's it for Falcom. Uh, uh, I feel
It
like
used
there's
to be that I had more confidence in Monhan, but I just don't after Wilds. Like they just, it was just a swing and a miss along so many different axes, and it was in a lot of ways needless as well. It just seemed like in a lot of ways it was the same sort of logic that leads to the HSR spaceship auto battler event, where it's like, oh, we couldn't possibly have anybody fail at this. It would be unconscionable.
yeah. When I
And
the never mind the performance issues of the game. Like holy crap, we couldn't even play it. But when we could play it, it's like how many times did you equip an element resist anything in that game?
well, I was never really in the habit of doing that anyway. So
That's just because you really liked being on fire.
yeah, it did happen quite a bit that I was on fire. But I did used to regularly swap, like I used to for statuses, I would sort of monomaniacally try and neutralize any statuses that I knew a monster could apply because getting tagged with a status was the end of the fight.
Yeah, it would cause such disruption that it was very hard to come back from, and a lot of them it was worth it to nullify the status if at all possible.
And now there's just walk it off.
Yeah, it's literally like I don't care.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is that there's nothing wrong with a lot of the core designs, like the new monsters like New Udra, and that were cool, but they just didn't seem to want to make them as threatening as monsters used to be. But I don't know, normally the expansion is going to contain the most balls to the wall fights that there are, and it's not like Wilds didn't have some really good fights in it. There were a few that were really good, like the really nasty versions of Gore Magala, and they were really, really tough fights where you had no margin to screw up because everything would go horribly wrong. It's just that the sort of the bulk grist of the game that you have to work your way through felt like a chore because the monsters were just a matter of, oh, we'll just beat it up until it falls over, and what's that going to do about it?
I do think kind of indicative of the problems of early Monhun was the fact that we could pick up a weapon we don't know what we're doing and just go hammer bonking.
Well, I mean, it's when you're stacking the group with hammers, it's kind of a bit. I think that the hammer did have some problems in terms of its universal applicability to every problem, but it was when taken as a solo weapon, it had some severe flaws at the start that were ironed out over the course of time. But yeah, a lot of the things in there were just like, oh, we'll change it to change it types of things. Um, they eliminated pretty much none of the core issues that Rise introduced. In fact, they seemed to think they were a great idea. The only thing that they didn't carry on was the thing where tons and tons of monsters come towards you and you have to play tower defense. I'm glad that stayed deep in the past.
I remember us
But
being very angry while having to farm that.
well, it's not fun. It's just dull and sort of cheapens the whole Monster Hunter experience in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
But
you got this big old waves of monsters, and you play a tower defense, and you're just waiting for the one monster you actually get to fight for a little bit.
yeah, and what's more is that that's the only place you can find those variants, and some of them are actually really cool to fight.
Yeah,
But
and
you have to do a bunch of stuff you don't want to do in order to get to it.
then you get to it, and you're trying to farm it for drops, and its special drops are on a stupidly low drop rate.
And they did get rid of monster riding, which I think is also good. Like the driving the monster around and making it do what you want all the time. Like where it's optimal to go and send somebody to go get the monster and bring it to the fight type of thing.
Like, okay, I'll start the fight with the monster you want to fight. Then hang on, I'll go get what else is on the map. Okay, I'll be right back. Somebody comes in with a giant spider, and then you go for the bonks. And then, okay, cool. That thing ran away. Now let's jack the monster we're currently fighting and get the triple bonk. And try to land the last bonk on something that does bonus environmental damage. Like every single fight in Rise was that exact pattern when you started it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were exceptions. Like the final version of Malzeno was apparently a really good, purely skill based fight, but it was sort of too little, too late by then. I'd already gotten bored of doing the bonk, bonk, bonk. But yeah, the expansion though, like I don't know, this is their chance to rescue it. Though I don't know if it's rescued for me. I don't know what it would take to get me back in there. I'm not like dead set against trying it. If Fern talks me into it, I probably would fold eventually.
Yeah,
But
if Fern's playing it a lot, I'll probably scoop it a little bit. But I'm not.
it'll be a matter of like, well, what will they do? What will they do that is actually going to be what we can call master rank this time? Like, how are they going to up the ante when they've already used things like tempered and arch tempered?
Yeah.
How are they going to raise the stakes another notch?
What they call the
Are they
difficult.
just going to make us fight Kushala Daora again 5 million
Yeah,
times?
that was not a good way to get me hyped for your expansion. If there's one Elder
I
Dragon,
wonder if there's like a hardcore of people who are into Monster Hunter who just think Kushala Daora is the coolest fight ever.
like there are a lot of Elder Dragons I like to fight. Kushala is not one of them. He's the only one I see it, and I groan if need him for a build. I mean, I guess he's easy because he just uses like the Fatalis skeleton and like the generic Western Dragon skeleton, and he's just there. He's just shiny.
But he doesn't want to fight you. He wants to hover in the air. Pidgey used Gust.
Yeah, he's gonna sit there and use Whirlwind the whole time, and he ain't coming down. And let me tell you, as a dual blades user, that mofo not coming down. You can't even tickle his toes.
I think that you're just going to have to bite the bullet, relearn bow, and put it in your dinosaur horse thing, so that you can swap weapon.
Just for Kusha.
I mean, that's what I basically made my standard approach in the end was to have the heavy bow gun and the great sword.
Because the weapons I like to use in Mon Hunt are not the big weapons. I use sword and board and dual blades.
Well, sword and board, you can basically fly. You'll be fine.
If you can bonk it in the first place, you have to pogo with the shield by hitting the monster.
I don't really know how sword and board works. I never really liked it.
You have to hit with the shield bop first to pogo. And if the monster's up in the air, you can't hit it with the shield. So yeah, I'm willing to look at the game again if Fern comes back with good reports. I mean, Fern's generally more positive than we are anyway, so he'll probably give a more positive report than we will when he comes back after trying it. But it really was the lack of difficulty that sealed it. The performance issues didn't help. They were a big complaint, especially when they hit that peak where the game was just unplayable.
Yeah, that seemed like a rookie mistake as well. Like, there's no way they shouldn't have caught this in testing type of thing.
Yeah, like that was the
Because I'm pretty
camel.
sure there was basically nobody who didn't suffer from that, right? Like
Yeah,
that was a universal problem. It's
yeah,
not like my issues with WuWa where some people experience them even worse than me and some people don't experience them at all.
yeah. This was a literally everybody had some kind of shoe with it. And the next patch they ironed those out, but I was so just that was the straw that made the camel's shaky legs
He
break.
was already over it.
Yeah. I when I turned DLSS on the next patch, everything was cool, but I didn't care anymore.
There was something, despite the fact that it was too easy, there was still something soothing about bullying the chicken.
Well, it's always bullying chickens is always fun. I did like seeing how many legs we could lop off of the octopus.
That just goes to show that there were good ideas there that were just let down by the details of the execution.
Yeah,
Like, it didn't have to be bad, but they made it bad due to sloppiness in terms of optimization and QC, and just the fundamental decision that the game needed to be easier. Like the thing that I just really noticed more than anything else is that my damage numbers just seemed too high.
yeah. Stun locking the enemy
So
monsters with wounds also didn't help.
yeah, that I mean they sort of tuned that down eventually,
Yeah,
so that it wasn't the
right when we
be all
were
and end all of everything.
right when we were fed up with it and quit.
Yeah, when it was already too late to fix it, and the entire game had been about wound exploitation and nothing else. But I mean, that was the same thing that I didn't like about Iceborne, was the fact that everything ended up becoming about the 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 gimmick of the moment, clutch claw the thing, and your problems are over. And then the same issue in um Rise was everything became about wire bugs. Like the gimmick was too overpowering, and like the equivalent gimmick in World was just the slinger, and the slinger was not a problem.
Yeah, the slinger just allowed you access to stuff in the environment easier because the world was bigger than previous Monster Hunter games. Didn't get in the way of anything. Clutch Claw, and you can see them
But it
iterating,
didn't replace core mechanics. That's the thing. It didn't alter the way in which the game is fundamentally played.
and you can see it get worse and worse as it goes on. Like the Clutch Claw is intrusive, and making the wounds on the bigger monsters is important, or the weak spots. But the weak spots were at least big enough and didn't cripple most monsters. And there were quite a few monsters where just taking whatever was in your slinger and blasting its head into a wall was a better idea. You get to Rise, and the wire bugs are all consuming in everything. Just every aspect of the game is in some way tied to the wire bugs. And then you get to World, and literally every single way to optimally fight a monster revolves around the wound mechanic.
Yeah, Wilds was just really bad about that. Like, basically, it was not just. It wasn't just that. Oh well, you do more damage if you shoot the wounds. It's like, oh well, the wounds are basically combo points you use to fuel your kit, type of thing.
You know, like
It's
every
like, no, no, I
weapon.
don't want to play around this gimmick. Like, if I wanted that, I would play Insect Glaive, because that's basically Insect Glaive writ large across every weapon, right?
I
Oh, you have to target this particular thing on the monster in order to unlock this particular
oh, you had to play
move set or whatever.
you had to play paintball and hit like the claw, the head, the body, and the tail, and it would give you one of three colors, and each color was assigned to a particular spot on each monster. But then you got
But
when you
that's the thing though, right? Like, that's what I saw you doing with dual blades. It's like, oh well, we've managed to generate a wound here, and this now gives me an opportunity to use this move that I can't really otherwise use. Like, that's what was happening, was that we were using it to fuel our kit.
yeah.
And those moves were so damaging and so effective that it's like, well, everything is just about, well, find a way to generate resources so we can use these moves.
And even if we just accidentally opened up a whole bunch of wounds across its back, I would go buzz sawing down the back of the monster, pop them all. Okay, we lose a little bit of overall DPS in the moment now, but the monster's getting toppled from that.
Yeah, that was the other thing. The topples were too easy. Like, you could just effortlessly topple monsters. It used to be really, really tough to topple any monster outside of the one time you break a breakable leg. That used
Yeah,
to be it.
yeah. We used to have to time our topples to get optimal tail damage on Anjanath to get it off in time. Like these were things we had to think about. Now the boss will just fall over if you pop enough wounds in quick succession. Which, when you're running with me in the party playing dual blades, it's just go buzzsaw.
So their gimmick doesn't really it's not really additive, it's distorting, and that's been the problem that they keep falling into. And maybe it just is that so much of the player base is just a sucker for the novelty of mechanics that, they don't really care that it's changed the gameplay in a radical and non-constructive way, because you're no longer playing around the monster or around the weapon, you're playing around the gimmick, and the gimmick doesn't vary between monsters and weapons, not in a meaningful sense. You're just still taking the same rough approach. So no matter how much diversity you build into your weapons and your monsters, you're still going to be trying to do the same thing, which is play around the gimmick instead.
I like the little chibi Lucilla that pops out when you do the good photo shoot.
I can see your little chibi Lucilla as well. It's not just on your end.
So yeah, don't really know what we're gonna do with current announcements. Like the thing about the Sony announcements is I don't care because they're going back to exclusives. I'm not gonna go buy a PS5.
Well, it sounds like Xbox is Microsoft's basically destroying Xbox now. Like it
Yeah,
seems like they've just had enough. Like they're just going into yet more layoffs. There's not going to be anybody left to lay off in a year or two.
yeah, and all their stuff will come to PC anyway. But yeah, not sure what the deal is with those. PlayStation's going exclusive mode. I don't care. Um, so yeah, that be where we're
Yeah,
at with those.
it doesn't really seem like there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, this is why I always end up coming back to the gachas, and I know I've got a backlog of other things to do, but if what I want is something fresh and novel, the gacha space is tending to supply it more consistently because they know they've got to keep people engaged, and it seems like it's just too easy to keep the people in the AAA space engaged, because all they want is you to trot out a remake of, Member Berry's game number 137.
I mean, we're on the fourth or fifth remake of Star Fox, and they look like meth heads.
Well, the world has no shortage of furries, unfortunately.
I guess meth head furry is an archetype probably, but yeah, just I just it is too much to want, you know, anything that's not a remake. Literally anything not a remake.
Well, I mean, it used to be that it was like, well, the indie scene is supposed to solve this problem, but the indie scene has basically gotten into a groove of just everybody copying the latest big thing. And so you either have to wade through an ocean of dross or just gamble at random.
Yeah, like they'll hop on the train of the whatever the current genre of the month is, or they'll at worse or even worse make lesbian walking simulators. Like I'm not kidding when I say like half of the indie scene seems to be lesbian walking simulators.
Oh, am I disconnected?
I don't know. Are you?
Because I can't hear anything.
Pickle, pickle, my pickle, my pickle, pickle, pickle,
Hello,
pickle,
hello,
pickle, pickle,
hello. I still can't hear anything.
pickle, pickle,
My
pickle.
ping is only 53, but I can't hear anything.
I don't know what happened to your
Oh,
sound.
no, it's at 5,000 now. Fantastic.
Pickle, 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 pickle. Okay, we will try switching the server. Okay, is it better now?
Yes. Yes, it is better now.
I had to pick a server that was not US West or Sydney, the two I usually flip between. We are currently on US Central.
Well, Discord is free software. Well, it's free for me. I'm not giving them any money.
I use them for work, so they're getting money from me. All I get out of it
As
is
a business expense.
I don't put it on the company Amex now. Probably could file transfer service. All I do is use it to move like over 50. Oh, I use it to move all files now, but it's mostly used for moving plans and engineering documents that I get that I need to work through between my two computers so I can take some home to look at them without having to drag a flash drive everywhere. Yeah. All right. I think we just about got it all. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much else to talk about. I don't think. I mean, I'm just not really inspired by anything coming down the line, so I guess I'll just wait for something to inspire me at this point.
Yeah. I'm I'm sick right now, and I don't feel like starting new games when I'm sick. So I'm between games at the moment. Um, but we'll see
I
what
probably
come
would
next.
play a remake of Ocarina of Time, but I don't think that I would finish it. I think that I would almost certainly get bored partway through once I realized what it was I was doing, which was attempting to relive my childhood.
Yeah. But yeah. I love that there are the cubies inside of her little screens.
Everybody loves QBs. Well, QB's got a really bad reaction initially. People hated QBs
Now everybody loves the cubies.
because of Phoebe, basically.
Cubie. Phoebe doing that WuWa marketing, giving the cubies a good name.
There's basically two core columns that uphold WuWa marketing, and one of them is Phoebe the Cube, and the other one is Camellia the mascot.
There was a incredibly funny uh picture of of Phoebe inside the mascot costume. It is translated into this meme. It's not the picture version. I'll have to find the picture version later. It's just the Phoebe mascot, but whoever was in the suit was exhausted, or the suit was empty and slumped over. I'll see if I can find the real picture later. So yeah. All right, folks. This has been No Excuses on a Boat with Boobies. And I think that's all we got. So we will see you next
Yeah.
week. Sayonara.
Next
Bye
week
bye.
has ZZZ update, so
Yeah. So let's hope for Jane once again becoming MLG tier. We'll see you then.